All right, thanks for the patience, everybody. We had quite a few comments there, so welcome in. My name is Erin. I'm going to be hosting your step-by-step acrylic painting tutorial, as always, here on Twitch. The painting tonight you can see over here is just a nice rainy street painting. I grabbed inspiration online. We wanted to do something a little more like scenic, a little bit more like destination related, so in case anyone didn't see, there's a little Big Ben here. A little Big Ben. It's a big Big Ben. So I'm trying to create kind of like a very light London scene. If you want to change that up, if you want to change it to a different destination, you're fully welcome to, or if you want to just think of this as like any destination, you can do that too. But that was kind of the inspo of this painting, a nice rainy day in London here. So I'll be teaching it to you step by step, so that means I'll actually recreate it with you step by step. So at one point, whenever I'm done my intro, that is, I'm going to switch to this view here. You'll see a blank canvas, and I'll actually paint along with you step by step as well. So I'll verbally tell you what I'm doing, and you'll actually see it as well, and then that way we can really easily see everything broken down nice and slow. That makes it way easier than you think. I know especially this painting, a lot of people are a little intimidated by all the colors, all the layers, but once you see me break it down, I promise you it's way easier than you think, and I promise you can do something very, very close, if not the same as this. So yeah, feel free to get out your paints, start setting up. If you want to do something a little different than this, as I said, you're welcome to as well. If you're not a fan of all the colors, you can make this more of a monochrome painting, or change the layout, or just do any sort of art tonight that you want. As long as this kind of inspires you to try some painting or try some art tonight, I'll be happy. Or even if you're just hanging out having a good time, I'll be happy too. So whatever you like. In terms of supplies, you can always check the supplies by typing !supplies in the chat, but I keep them the same as always. Tonight we'll actually be using just 4 paint colors, 4, and I'm not using black, so we're just using red, yellow, phthalo, blue, and white. That's the 4 today. And then in terms of brushes, I always use my usual 3. I'll be using a lot of this large flat brush for the very kind of square rectangular strokes you see, and then I'll be using my medium and small brush for small little details, the smaller lines, etc. I'd recommend having a cup of water. I'd recommend having a paint palette close by. I use my paper plate, soon to be volcano plate, getting nice and solid. Hopefully you have an apron. Thank you, Terry, as always, for the apron. And those are just the basic supplies, so if you have more supplies than that, that's okay. If you have less, that's okay too. You can really manage with just about anything for a lot of my tutorials. Other places to check me out, if you want to do this another time, if maybe you're just kind of like listening along and you're like, oh, I don't have my supplies ready, what do I do? That's okay. I post all of these to YouTube eventually. You can find me at youtube.com/erinbunpaints. It's the same name everywhere. You can check out Instagram, instagram.com/erinbunpaints. That's where I post all of my tutorial designs as well as some personal artwork if you're interested in that. And then Facebook is a good place to check me out too, for those of you who like to RSVP to event pages to remind yourself when I'm going live or to see upcoming paintings. Facebook.com/erinbunpaints is where you want to go. Okay, so let's switch to my other view here. Perfect. So you can still see the original, of course, up here. It is on Instagram if you want like a huge view, but I think this is pretty big. And then, of course, my painting will be here. So lots of different places to look. Not at me, though. I'm unimportant. All right, let's start just by doing a quick little sketch out of sections. You can use any brush you want for this. In fact, I think I'll go grab my favorite brush, my medium round brush, just because it's my favorite. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to start to sketch out what I call like the sections of the painting. So, for example, I have the sidewalk as a section. I have this kind of debatably either road or water area as a section, this pie piece. I'm going to do a section kind of coming up here, and then a section kind of coming over here. I'm also going to sketch out where Big Ben is, and that'll be my sections. Oh, and then one more, I'm going to put a line where the lights are going. So everything is kind of going to this one point here. This is a very basic lesson in perception and depth. Everything's kind of going and disappearing into one spot. Everything comes straight out, straight out, straight out, straight out. So that's what we're going to do with our brush here. So I'm just going to mix together a light yellow, and then I'm going to use the light yellow to kind of mark out all those sections, and it'll make it a lot easier to do the design today. So mix together white and yellow. White and yellow. Yeah, mods, if someone wants to tell Julia, you got it. Thank you, Gray. I was just gonna say, letting Julia know she can always watch it another time when her internet's better. Thanks so much, Gray, for responding to her there. I know it's stressful when things aren't freezing up and stuff and she can't hear, or anybody, right? Yeah, Arcane's got it too. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I don't know if she did restart her modem, but maybe suggesting like restarting her internet. It's hard to tell what's up, obviously, but perhaps. All right, yellow, white. So I'm choosing to have all of my things kind of disappearing in the middle, kind of off to the left here. So where my mouse is right around here. So let's start there. I'm just gonna do a little point like that. It'll be very light on my canvas, and it should be light on yours too. That makes it a lot easier to cover up. Okay, so first I'm gonna sketch out where the sidewalk is. So I'm just doing a straight line kind of coming down to the left, and then one coming way down to the right. The sidewalk's actually quite big. You can see how big it is in the original. It really takes up almost all of the bottom here. Almost all of the bottom, so. Like aiming for the corner. If it falls a little short, that's fine. And this can all be very rough because it will be covered up anyway. Mix for yellow was yellow and white, Jules. More white than yellow? I would say more white than yellow, yeah. Thanks for asking. I'm definitely using more yellow just so you can see it a little bit easier. But on your canvas, if you want to keep it super, super buttery yellow light, that would be a good idea because it'll be easier to cover up for sure. Yep, I would guess that too, Groki. It could be, Lynn, yeah. It's kind of stormy everywhere, it sounds like. Good, Julia, I'm glad. It's all the bullet journaling. I'm so used to all the straight lines. Alright, we're going to do another line coming straight out to the right. That's going to be, again, debatably either the road or water. When I was making this live on Twitch, for those who don't know, I make all of my designs live on Twitch as I'm creating them as well, so you can see like an even slower thought process behind them. Yeah, a lot of people were saying this was water, this was a roadway. I don't know, it's just a rainy day, so it really could be anything. I chose to put blue tones in here, but yeah, it could be anything. Tina, welcome in. Thank you for following. I'm just doing a step-by-step tutorial now. If you have any questions, let me know. What's the dot for? It's just a little marker just to kind of mark where everything is touching. Let's do another line. I'm going to do another one coming out here. This one isn't as necessary. It was actually because I was originally planning on doing buildings here, so I was doing kind of the top line for where the buildings are going. But in the end, I just chose different colors. I just kind of did a pink section here and then a green section, so I'm choosing to still mark it out so we can have pink and then green up here. Even though we will cover up this line, I'm just going to show you the line for the lights, just so you can kind of visualize where the lights are going. We're just doing a slightly angled line coming up from the middle, or from the center point rather, and then coming up to the right. It's just showcasing where the light bulbs will be going, where the lamp posts will be going. So again, this will be covered up because it's kind of all in the same section, but it'll just help you kind of visualize, I hope, by kind of putting that line there. Hopefully you'll cover it up and still kind of comprehend where the lights are going. Down like that. Okay, Nine, I'll cheers you anyway. It's alright. Ding. I need another drink anyway. Alright, and then the last thing I like to kind of carve out is Big Ben. So yeah, optional. If you don't want to do kind of a London scene specifically, you do not have to, but I'm going to keep to my original here. So we're ignoring this little center point here. I'm literally just doing a little rectangle area for Big Ben. It was a little easier for me to leave this spot blank at the start and then fill it in the way I wanted, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put down 2 vertical lines so that I know to leave it semi-blank, and then we'll put all these oranges and nice colors in there later. So this is the basic layout for now. So again, all of these lines will be covered up. It's just to kind of showcase the general design. So I'm just going to leave this here for a quick minute. You can kind of make sure you have all of your basic lines. Again, even this line you could exclude. It's just to showcase where those lampposts are going to go. All the lampposts will be getting taller and taller and taller, matching with this edge of the sidewalk here. Aw, everyone's cheersing Canine. That's sweet. There she is. We got ya. Still at work. She can still cheers and watch along. And in terms of order, you could really do any order here. I will be starting kind of on the left and just kind of doing a clockwise motion around personally, but just so you know, if you're kind of in a groove at any point, you can kind of go from section to section as you like. There's a little bit of blending here and there, but not much. You can end there, it's awesome. Yeah, abstract. Very modern. I'll just block in a couple colors, leave a couple blank. Make up some story or like symbolism behind it, and then it's beautiful art. Pleb checked nothing. I would have yelled at you if I saw. I like how you're dancing though, looking around for your friend. Over here, please. Afternoon, Erin. I checked your tutorial on Twitch for tonight. It shows. Oh, good, good. I'm glad, Lynn. Yeah, you've got it all figured out. Clockwise. Yup, you got it. Thank you, Alvin. Yay. I was like, will anybody? Will anybody? I don't know. It's kind of, it honestly is kind of like modern and stuff, Arcane. I'm half joking, but I'm half not. That I could see this being like a couple big, bold strokes kind of on top, and it would be done to me. What does it say to you? So you like it just as is, huh? $200, let's go. I'm just kidding. The first time you follow along with a toot, it's this. Goes to Wookie, look what I made. Oh man. Better brushes. I'm happy to give you recommendations, Kohaku. Yeah, I'm in. Canvas for birthday. Oh, nice. That'll be great for your supplies, Charlene. That's exciting. Art supplies are always just a fantastic gift. You're losing bristles. Oh no. Yeah, I recommend these ones, Kohaku. These are Princeton value set. They are a value set of brushes. I don't have any problems with the bristles being lost. They do eventually start to fray a little bit, kind of lose their shape a little, but for the most part, I can just put them all back together and they're fine. I really enjoy them. Yeah. Did you, is this going to be available? Yes, it will. It'll be on YouTube and on here. Yes, it will. YouTube, if you do exclamation YouTube, it'll give you my YouTube page. Thank you. There you go. Thanks, Julia. Welcome in, Todd. Just in time. We're about to start really painting now. We've got our base down, but we're going to start adding some nice, beautiful textured squares. So yeah, so the main part of this painting is messiness. It's messiness, but kind of keeping it a little bit cleaner. Of course, we don't want it to get super messy, super muddy with all the colors. So we just kind of take our time going color by color. We'll let things dry, and then we'll start to stack more colors on top. That's why you get clean oranges on top of the green, for example, or clean pink on top of the green, because usually those colors do not mix well together. So we just got to go kind of section by section, and then we'll kind of go back around and add some more layers on top. I did recommend, and I still will recommend, a flat brush for pretty much most of this painting here. A flat brush is going to give you those nice kind of square strokes that you see. You can kind of see the diagonal back and forth like this. That's what the flat brush gives you. So anything flat, it can be smaller or bigger than this as long as it's more of a flat shape, so more of this square shape, okay? So the first section I'm going to work on is this one. It's going to be mainly kind of pinks and purples, all kind of scattered together. So just pinks and purples for now. So let's start with pink. Let's start slow. We'll do pink. So pink is made by mixing white and red. I would say mostly white with a little bit of red. Add more red if you want some darker pinks, if you want more of a hot pink. Again, this is really up to you in terms of like shades of color and stuff. I can of course tell you how I got mine, but if you like lighter pinks instead of a darker pink, change it up, you know? Change it to whatever you like. Okay, so I'm mixing white and red on my plate here. And as I'm mixing, I'm actually kind of leaving it a little bit unmixed. And I'm going to do that consistently. You can see a little bit of marbling in some of my brush strokes. I'll zoom in here so I can really show you. See how these colors aren't like one straight color? It's kind of like a marbled look. There's like a light green and a dark green, all in one brush stroke. Light green, dark green, all one brush stroke. That's because I wasn't fully mixing my paints as I went. So you can see what I'm doing is I'm grabbing a big scoop of red, scoop of white, and I'm just kind of like slowly mixing them like that. So it looks almost like candy. It's all very ribboned. That's the way I like it, so that it comes off very ribbony and half mixed as I apply it to the canvas. If you don't like that technique, just keep mixing to get a solid color. But again, I really like the kind of marbly look. You can see it on my brush there, how it's all marbly. Okay, whenever I'm ready, so I have my brush prepped with a lot of that paint there. Lots of paint is the other key. You want to really scoop it on. And I'm just going to go back and forth. See how I'm kind of going diagonal each time? I'm going from top right to bottom left. And then you can flip it and do it the other way. Top left to bottom right. So you can go nice and slow. Once you kind of get in the groove of it, you can pick up pace if you want. But otherwise, just really take your time. Kind of get used to this technique, because this is what we're using pretty much everywhere. Back, forth. You don't need to switch every time too. I'm just doing that because there's going to be more paint on the other side, right? I'm kind of switching where the paint is. Back, forth, back, forth. So the hardest part I would say about this is kind of leaving things alone. I think it'll be very tempting for a lot of you to kind of go over top of things and keep, you know, brushing, brushing, brushing. And that's going to move all of this paint into one solid color. So you want to avoid that. You want to try your best to kind of put it on, leave it alone. It's very tough to do. And lots of paint too. I'm really trying to like scoop the paint on. You can see I do maybe a couple brush strokes, not too many. And then I go back and reload it after a couple. If you're finding you're getting the same color everywhere, make a big dramatic change. You can do like a super light pink on your brush by adding more white, like right on top of the pink that's already on your brush. Stack that on top a little bit and you can start to see some lighter squares. You can be dramatic and do like straight red onto your already pink brush. That really didn't work, but I'll try again. There we go, and you start to get some darker elements there. So yeah, switch it up as you go. Try and again get some dramatic changes in your brush strokes. So I'm doing all pink for this section. You do see some purple there. I will add the purple next while the pink is still wet, because purple and pink do mix well together, so we can put this right on top as it's still wet. So you can fill in that whole section with pink. Yeah, Nujwana, if you have any questions too, if you want to hang out in the meantime, feel free, or if you have questions about what I'm doing so that you can prep for when you watch the video, no worries at all. Glad you found it though. A skid steer? What's that? A skid steer? Is that like your scooter that you were talking about? Oh, hog hair. Yeah, I use synthetics, Kohaku, personally. What is a skid steer? Am I just like totally losing it? I have no idea what that is. Gray, thank you for that explanation too. This is pink, Julia. Yeah, what is a skid steer? Yeah, don't blend, I know. I know. It's like, I'd like to touch the paint, but I can't. See how ridgy it is. So see how you get all those different shades and all the ridges? Yeah, don't touch it. It's gonna be tempting, but don't do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure if baby Julia can't see. I know her internet is popping in and out, so that might be why she's asking. Pink, red, and white. Rule, welcome in. I love this painting. I'll do it later. Definitely will enjoy watching. Absolutely. Thank you for sticking around. It really does help me growth-wise on Twitch when people stick around, so I do really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, of course, feel free to ask now that you're here. Question! We have to cover the whole background with the technique, am I right? Pretty much, Lynn. I'll be switching up the technique in here and in here. I don't do the like back and forth squares, but I do still lots of paint and just more of a kind of left-right motion, but it'll be a similar technique, yeah. Otherwise, yes, this technique everywhere, different colors though. Oh, for pink, excuse me, no, I will just be doing this in the pink. If you watched me create it live, Lynn, I was kind of messing around with different colors the whole way, so I may have used more pink than I'm going to right now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'll actually be switching to a different color soon. Before we switch to a different section though, I'm going to put a little bit of purple, so you can see there's some purple kind of mixed in a little bit. Again, it's not mandatory, it's just if you want a little bit of extra color in this section. I haven't really decided what this ended up being. I said before I was going to make it into buildings, but right now it's just kind of like a bright section. I don't really know. It's just another color in this nice bright painting. So if you want some purple, I'm just going to, again, lightly mix some red and blue together. By lightly, I mean, like, again, the marbling, so I'm just very, very messily kind of smushing a couple piles in together, allowing it to stay very marbled. And I'm just going to throw a couple kind of darker patches right on top of the pink. So you might see it mix a little bit. That's actually great. I like when it mixes. See how it gets lighter and lighter? It's because it's mixing with the pink as I go. And you can do as much or as little of this as you like. I just do this very loosely. I don't like to cover up all the pink. You can see in my original, I would say it's mostly pink. And just doing kind of squares here and there so it looks a little bit more scattered. Again, this painting is a lot of layering of colors, so I'm just constantly adding different layers to see how it looks and filling up spaces with lots of color. And then you see some gold on here. Do not go ahead and add the gold yet. I will be doing that later. Oh, that's okay, Lynn. It is purple. So you're mixing red and blue together. Purple. No worries. Judy, I'm glad you're watching. Painting later. Sounds good. You know, if you have any questions, just let me know. Red and blue, Lynn. That's all. Indeed, we have looked at... Wait, what? What did you buy? Is this in a game, maybe? Skid steer. That's for a new one in the US. Yeah, I don't know if you're talking farming sim or what here. That's okay, though. So again, just as a reminder for those who see gold, don't go ahead and add gold. We're going to do that later, because gold and purple do not mix well, so we want to keep this stuff kind of on its own for a little bit to dry. If you're done with the pink purple, you can wash off your brush. I'll just give another quick minute, and then we can go on to the next section. I would say a lot of paintland here. I can't really show you, but you see all those ridges there? That's because there's lots of paint on there. You can see all that lovely texture in the painting. Yeah, all those ridges. That was a lot of paint being caked on there. To a forklift. Todd, you bought a forklift essentially? Again, this must be in Farming Sim. What's going on? I'm so lost. Oh man, I missed that. A Lego. Okay. No, I didn't either, Shannon. I had no idea. He said, hi chat. I just finished assembling the skid steer I bought. And I was like, what though? Oh, there it is. Mine is Lego brand. I'm so sorry. My mind is just melting. What are you buying? Texture. It's been a while since we've used that command. Oh man. Why'd you buy a skid steer? It's Lego. Oh man. Ugh. Okay. So I'm gonna start moving on to the next section, everybody. Ah, you did. I'm sure you did. Just to confuse my little brain. Alright. Yeah, I was desperately looking. I was desperately looking for answers, Todd, but I'm glad we figured it out. So next section, everybody, is going to be this section here. You can see it's lots of greens. So I'm going to start with some dark and light greens, and then we will mix some other colors on top later. For now, we're just doing greens in here. So I'm going to mix again blue and yellow. And I'm again lightly mixing them. So that means I'm just kind of like moving them a little bit into one another until I start to see even just a little bit of green. If you still see some little areas of yellow and blue, that's fine. But it's all nice and marbly in there. And again, lots of paint on my brush, so kind of just allowing it to stay nice and marbled on my brush. This looks very dark, so I'll just go with it for now. I'll start with a nice dark green, and then I'll probably splice in some nice light greens on top. So again, I'm just allowing it to stay hopefully a little bit less mixed on my brush. I'm going to try my best to get that a little better. And then going square, square. They're all very like square or rectangle shapes with that flat brush. Now, in terms of blending, green and pink are not going to blend well together. You can see it's pretty distinct sections here. We don't really do a lot of blending. It's just the colors all kind of go on top of one another eventually. So for now, I wouldn't worry about getting a blend with these two colors. If you want, what I like to do is very lightly just kind of wipe into the pink just a little bit. It's not like I'm actually trying to mix them. I'm just very lightly sweeping in so it looks like there's pink kind of underneath the green and then green on top of the pink. But again, I'm trying not to mix too much. I'm very much trying to leave it alone there. And that's going to be a key with a lot of sections. We're not going to be doing a perfect, you know, smooth blend. It's going to be more so just moving a couple little strokes into one another and then leaving it alone. So again, I'm kind of spacing these out for now. Maybe bring them a little closer together. And I'm going to add some light green as well. I have a lot of dark green on here. You can see it's looking quite dark. So I'm just going to mix lots more yellow into my green. You can see that creates a nice lime green. And I'm going to put that kind of in between and on top of what I have. And you'll see that will make a nice big difference. It'll lighten it up a lot and it'll make it look a lot more, again, a lot more textured with all those individual brush strokes. The contrast of the dark green and the light green really helps. Well, Todd, you got all of us there. Everyone's like, what is he talking about? Grokey! Ah! Thankies! Thank you, Grok! Resubscribing for 10. Our baby boy is 1 month old. How could it be? Thank you, Grok. I appreciate it. Harvest Moon, welcome back. I love this painting. My girlfriend and I will enjoy it later from YouTube. Yeah, you're welcome. I'll try my best to get it uploaded soon. I am still a little bit behind from the last few tutorials, but I will do my absolute best, Harvest Moon. Thank you. Whee! I would hype right now, but I can't. Grok, thank you. Alright, see that with the addition of the light, it looks all very textured now. All those nice individual strokes. Again, very caked on there. Lots of ridges. And I'm going to leave that alone. So again, even though you see different colors on top of the green, that's going to be for a little bit later once it's a little more dry. It doesn't even have to be totally dry. It's just as long as it's not fresh. We can add some pinks, maybe even some purples. Looks like some gold is in there, so we'll leave that for a little bit later. So keep taking your time. I'll give another minute or two, and then we're going to move on to this section here. Oh, excuse me. We're just going to make this a little easier, actually. There's actually a little bit of green in here, so we can start to add that as well. Excuse me. So keep going here if you're still doing that section. If you are done with that section and you still have green, we can actually add it over here. Sorry about that. Quick little fix. It'll make it a lot easier now that we have green on our brush. We don't have to go back to that later. So again, this is a section that's kind of below the lights here. I kind of wanted to add a little more greenery as if maybe there's some treetops or bushes over here. So that's why I wanted to add some green over here myself. Same idea. I'm doing a little bit of dark green and then I'll kind of splice in some light green on top. Hi from Aaron. Thank you, Gray. No worries, Lynn. Yeah, I actually figured out that it's just this section we have to do as well. So I'll slow down right after this one for sure. Now that I remembered this extra section. Oh, what kind of blue is it, Kohaku? That's very possible. I'm glad you're catching that because some people are like, oh no, it's something I'm doing wrong. It's nothing you're doing wrong. It might just be your shade of blue. I use phthalo blue, P-H-T-H-A-L-O. And yeah, I know there's many different types of blues. And some of them create, yeah, they're not as bright. Mine doesn't even look that bright right now, but when I get lighter in color, it turns very nice and bright and vibrant. You can try Kohaku using a little bit of white. Sometimes I find the white can help. But I understand if it's a different shade, it just might not be producing exactly what you want. So if you like the colors I'm getting, phthalo blue is what I recommend personally. So again, lighter greens on top here. And like I said, you can be bold. Like you can even just dip straight into yellow on your messy brush. And because it's going on top of green, it'll kind of mix as it goes and it creates lighter strokes. So try that if you want to do something a little more bold on top of all your green. Almost 1 year, isn't that nuts? There's so much I want to do still in this first year. But it's pretty crazy. All right, yeah, I'll give another, at least another minute or two here, just so you can work on those 2 sections now that I've realized that it's 2 sections. Cool, cool, cool. So yeah, of course, because we're using a lot of paint here, it will take a little more time to dry. Acrylic paint doesn't dry at the same rate if we're doing all of this cakiness here. So when I usually say like, maximum 10 minutes, it's going to be now like 20 minutes-ish probably. For some sections, even half an hour if it's like super, super caked on. Like I see a very shiny spot right here, right in the middle. There's like a couple big ridges there, and I know those are going to take a little longer. So they will dry though, for those wondering. I think some people are worried that it'll never dry. No, it dries within 30 minutes, even like 40 minutes if you need, but it will dry very raised like that and very ridgy. So if you like all of that texture where you can literally feel it if you touch it, it will dry that way. So that's really cool to know. Nice bumpy painting, can feel the art. Yeah, for example, it looks like some of this is already dry right now, but if I go more in the middle, that's going to be wet still. You can see that it kind of turns a little more matte as it dries. That's why, Kohaku, when you said your colors were matte, I was like, it probably won't matter much, because mine have a little bit of a matte finish as well. At least they definitely look different from when they're wet versus dry, so I think they kind of turn a little more matte. Just using what I already got. Gotcha. Real blue. It's a lighter blue, not much of a royal. Okay, okay. Yeah, and that's the other issue, Kohaku, is each brand kind of has their name for things. Like, I couldn't tell you what real blue is. I think it depends on what the brand wants to call it. It could be primary blue or real blue or true blue. And it's like, I think it kind of varies here and there. So, all good though. Yeah, use what you have. Now you know. Who taste test the new Pringles flavors? I was promised a scorchin' barbecue flavor. It's not even flaming hot. You got it right in. Right into Doritos. I think that's Pepsi. Right into CEO of Pepsi. My mouth did not burn. At your scorchin' barbecue. The word scorchin' was used. I want to be scorched. Thank you. Where is that phthalo blue speaking of? Oh, it's over here because I always cheers with it. They are not? Oh, Pringles! I'm thinking of Doritos. Never mind. I'm getting all my brands wrong, aren't I? Kellogg's. Isn't that interesting? We learned about our brands the other day, and I was so wrong on a lot of them. Excuse me. Thank you for correcting me. Oh, dinner time, Jules. No worries. Sounds good. Yeah. Video's always available too if you need it, but yeah, have a good dinner. Maybe I'll see you back. Sounds good. Where's my white? Alright, so just so everyone knows, the next section is going to be this blue section here. So blue and white. So if you want to prep that, you can. I'll mix it in just a minute here. Blue and white. Yeah, yo, Nestle owns like everything. That's what we learned. That's what we learned. Yeah, when in doubt, it's Nestle. Ooh, it's scary. Or Disney. Different industry. Yeah, there's too many, exactly. I know. It gets extra confusing when, again, they have competing products in the same industry. Which Kellogg is based in Battle Creek, so that explains the spice level. You think that they're not into their spice there? Christy, oh, okay, welcome back. Nice to see you. Alright, so we're going to go in this top section here, which is mainly blue. Again, there are some colors on top, but it's mainly blue to begin with. So once again, I'm using my large flat brush, and I'm mixing blue and white together. Looks like I have a text about my squishy Cindy, so it is on its way. So very messily mixing blue and white, getting it all marbled. Same thing, just applying it, doing my little brush strokes back and forth. Not known for doing a good job with flavor. Oh, okay, with flavor in general. Oh, Cindy, thank you for gifting to Christy there. Oh, I saw that notification, Cindy, and I thought it was another treat stream notification. I was like, did you just buy me a second meal? I was like, what are you doing? Thank you for gifting to Christy. That's very sweet. Oh, it's not breaking dairy and apple stuff. Gotcha, I see, I see. I saw you sip and I didn't know if there was like a personal story there. Sip, sip. Alright, so I'm going to bring this blue right down to the green. Even though there are the lights on top, I put all of those orange colors on top of this blue-green. So you can go right up next to the green. And again, you can even blend a little bit if you want. Blue and green do play well together, so if you want to even mix a little bit more, kind of in between like this, it'll actually create a very nice blend if you'd like to, but it's not necessarily. Again, it's kind of nice to just have it a little more choppy, just like everywhere else, so it matches. Even though these two do blend well together. There we go. I still like seeing all the individual brush strokes rather than having it all a blended area, personally. Spiciest ginger ale. Mm. Yeah, that was Cindy who gifted to you, Christy. That was her giving that to you. 1 second, everybody. Lovely. That's it, Cindy. It's coming up the stairs. Doo, 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 doo. It's the best to say it. I have no place in this conversation. This is between you and Todd, Shannon. I'll let you both figure this one out. Alright, almost to the top, and then I'm probably going to splice in some lighter blues, because again, my blue turned out a little darker. So if I want to make it all very split up, you can again be very dramatic and just dip into your white if you want. And as you stroke on top, it'll mix a little bit with your blue. So it'll still create a nice marbled light blue. So again, dramatic, dipping in the white. Stroke, stroke, stroke. The first one might be very white, so you can always go on top if you need to, but the next few will kind of mix in and create some nice variety. I think that's good there. So I'm just going to leave it. Again, it's the hardest part is just not touching it. Once you have it basically covered up in all of your little sections of color, leave it alone. Aw, big hug. That's so sweet. Yeah, I didn't have to chase it like a zombie. I won't have to. No, imagine I go out and I meet the guy. I'm like, the food. It objectively is. Looking at it, it's kind of a navy blue, so that would explain it's making a lovely baby blue. Good, good, good. Yeah, that's good, as long as you're getting a little bit of a variety there. Excellent. Squishy. All right, at that note, I'm just gonna run out and grab that food real quick. I'll just leave you for about 30 seconds as we're waiting for everyone to catch up anyway, and then we'll move on to the next section. 1 minute. Do, 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 do. There we go. Cindy, thank you so much. It went straight into the fridge. Nice and fresh. Do not touch. No worries, Len, you got some time. Ran out to get my food, but also I'll give another minute or so here. Again, it does help to let things dry a little bit too, so this time actually helps all of us here. Even if you're done, you can take a tiny bit of a break. He's squished. Noodle. Yeah, he's looking a little squished as usual. What you're looking is, you're looking for chicken noodle. That there. There you go. Marion, there you are. Yep, sorry, it's the constant theme here, Kohaku. Yeah, Charlene, treat stream is great. Treat stream, excuse me. Noodles, you're just gonna get some yellow on the brush and boop. Perfect. How to paint Noodle. Again, just waiting a quick minute here. You'll probably see, again, this section's probably mostly drying up. There will be some ridges that you can see still very wet, but again, this whole side is very dry. Nothing there, nothing there. I'm obviously picking my spots that I know are dry to show off. Oh, that one was not. Whoops. This is still quite wet for me. Again, it's more the edges, right? Because I tend to not load up as much paint near these edges here, so that's dry, but none of the middle is. Anyway. Oh, I'd keep the blue on your brush, actually, Pizza. Good question. I'll give an option for the brush type for next step, because we're going in here, and we will be using blue. Great question. You could use the flat brush, but I might switch to this brush as well. So, yeah, keep it on this brush for now. And then you can switch brushes if you need to. You could blow dry, yes, if you want. Don't touch. I'm touching everything. Yeah, I was like, don't touch it. And I'm like, yeah, if you have a blow dryer, if you're somebody who likes to really make sure all of it's dry, you could blow dry it for sure. Elvin! You can speak to me through the sub. It is not dry. No, it is not. Thank you. Thank you for that info. Elvin, thank you so much for resubscribing. I appreciate it. Oh man, it is not dry. Did you know this? I did not. I should stop touching. Thanks again, Elvin. It is not dry. Alright, so again, Pete's asked a good question there. Did we wash off our brush? So yeah, you don't need to wash off your brush if you don't want to, because the next section we're going is this section here. So I was describing earlier this section and this section, they have slightly different techniques. We're just not doing the crisscross kind of square stuff, but we're still using lots of paint and lots of mixtures of paint to get all this very watery, wet look here. Take a chance, live on the edge, mostly because I don't want to get up to get the dryer. Yep, me too. That's what I always say too. I'm just too lazy. No worries, Christy. Enjoy your gifted sub and have a great evening. Right? Telling us not to touch is like saying don't touch the big red button. The more I say it, the more everyone's gonna touch it. Oh, what is it? Erinbu noodle. Oh, it didn't work for me for some reason. Oh, capital E, that's why, Wookie. There he is. There he is. I will not be able to follow if I don't use a blow dryer. You do you, Lynn. Yeah, you do you. Dance away. Uh-huh. Yeah, I just take the risk, as Hoki said, and I'm just lazy. Yep, any sort of some people take their canvas and start to, you know, fan it back and forth. That kind of works, so we can use our own methods as well. Alright, so let's move on to the next section here. So it's just more blue, so as we suggested, you can keep the blue on your brush if you want. I will be using a little bit of my medium round brush just because that's what I prefer here and there, but you could obviously use this nice big brush as well. I would recommend using the thin edge of the brush so you get all these nice little individual brush strokes. You can see very thin brush strokes in the water. I'll kind of zoom in. You can really see what's up here. Look at all that. Again, very messy, very textured. So what I'm doing is I'm just grabbing large amounts of this white and blue mixture. Again, you can marble it if you want, and that way you get lots of different shades. But I'm just going back and forth. I will not be leaving room for this orange. I will be stacking the orange on top. Same with the yellow, so you do not need to worry about leaving this section free. I'm just gonna go on top like that. It doesn't matter right now. We will have all this area dry later on, so we can add all of those colors right on top. And I like them kind of stacked on top anyway, so you can still see a little bit of blue through them. So that's what I'm going to do. So again, you can bring this right up towards the green. You can even stack it a little on top because blue and green do play nicely together. Trying my best to keep it relatively straight. Yeah, and just filling in nice and slow, back and forth. So continuing to dip into the paint, you can again make it very dramatic. Dip into the white, dip into some light blue, dip into some dark blue, whatever you want. If it's easier to kind of keep it in a nice section here just by doing a thick line, then do that, that's fine. You know, just adding a little buffer here, you know, and then that way when you go back and forth, it's kind of hitting the blue. Telling you to stop, don't go any further, stop. But yep, just as usual, trying to be very thick and messy. If a little blue bops over, that's okay. Lots of ridges of paint. Again, be dramatic. Go grab some white, plop it in there. It'll mix with the blue as it goes. Where's my blue again? There it is. Christy, I will be on tomorrow. For those interested, I'm doing a kind of chaotic stream tomorrow. The community thought it would be a funny idea to paint using bathroom supplies. We've always talked about how certain bathroom supplies are legitimately used in a lot of my tutorials for other people. I don't use them, but others do. Some people like to use Q-tips, for example, for dotting on paint. I've heard of people using toothbrushes when we are flicking stars onto the canvas. So everyone said, man, wouldn't it be kind of like funny if you tried to use only bathroom supplies? And I was like, haha, I guess so. And then we made it into a fun challenge. So that's what's going to be tomorrow. I don't really know what design I'm going to make yet. I was thinking it might be fun to try and recreate one of my own designs using bathroom supplies, and that way I can really compare, you know, to my original and be like, this was with brushes, this was with bathroom supplies. So I'm thinking about that. Or kind of using a, kind of like an iconic, like Mona Lisa type piece, you know, and then trying to recreate the Mona Lisa with paper, you know, I think that would be funny. So I'm trying to think about what design, but yeah, it'll be any and all bathroom supplies. We were talking about razors to add sharp edges, or cotton pads, loofahs for texture, so that'll be tomorrow, and I'm starting that at 11 a.m. EST, so a little later in the morning. Sharp, just got off work, will be a replay. Yes, Gray, thank you. If you look at Gray's message there, she just replied to you with a lot of information. Thank you, Gray. Short answer is YouTube, Twitch instantly. YouTube will take probably a week to get up, but Twitch instantly. Thank you, Gray, for that information. Save the post, it would be loved to see. Yes, the video for Saturday, yes, it'll be available on Twitch for at least a couple weeks if you want to rewatch it, absolutely. I think it'll be a funny time. Marianne, thank you, and I'm still here. Sweet Sin, Christy is the one going to bed. Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, she said goodnight to you. Oh, I see. Yay! Thanks again, Gray. Alright, so that's what my water's looking like, everyone. So again, lots of paint. Again, I'll give you a couple more minutes still, but I'm just showing you the ridges again. So that was lots of paint and just going nice and light, kind of putting it on back and forth horizontally. Get into the epic music again. There's that one song, it's just like this crazy build-up. It's like a battle is forming, I don't know. Back to the chill stuff. There we go. Do not touch it! I keep breaking my own rule, I keep touching it! Oh dear. So giving a minute or two more. This next section here we'll be doing a little bit more work in terms of like adding light colors on top while everything is still wet. So we have all these nice kind of dark to light oranges, nice light yellow. I like to add this light yellow as things are still wet, so I really want to make sure we're all caught up. So I'll leave at least a couple minutes so we can all make sure we're on the same page here. But you can see how it's like a slow progression of it coming together, but the more we add, the more it'll look like this very colorful layered piece, right? We have all our base colors, we'll put some different colors on top of those, it'll all kind of combine a little bit better. I found especially when I added the lights, the nice kind of light yellows on top of everything and then scattered the light yellow everywhere, it really helped the whole piece. Give me a quick second, everybody. Quick little battery change. I'm exhausted. There it is. Here it comes. lines. There we go. Lovely. I'm exhausted. And if you want, you can clean your brushes off. If you are all done with that section, give a quick clean there. 2800's the next one. And then it's only 200 away from 3000. Yeah, me too, Charlene. I was, again, this was a type of painting I've wanted to create for a while with lots and lots of texture and lots of colors. I always use lots of colors, but just the very square kind of layering, absolutely. Oh, no worries, Lynn. No, that's okay. Yeah, it's a little bit of a weird challenge, huh? But yeah, it's, again, I'll be using real paint. That's the one thing I want to clarify. Some people were like, are you using only bathroom supplies to, like, use as paint? No, I'm using paint. I'm just using different things to apply the paint with. Yeah, so like putting it on a loofah and going or paint on a toothbrush, you know? Mm-hmm. Caught a snack. Oh, good, Kohaku. I'm glad you had that time. Art Chappie, welcome in. Nice to see you. Liked your post in Art Share recently. I hope you're well too. Hope your evening's going all right. We're like halfway through this painting, so good time to come in. You can see it all come together. Don't forget I'm French. I think it's just a weird concept in general, and it's not even that you're French. It's like, what is a bathroom supply challenge? It's not common, you know? Here you'll see me using a highly corrosive toilet cleaner. Yeah, absolutely. This is the blue tinted toilet bowl cleaner, so perfect for our phthalo blue mixture. Ooh. Whoever requests a Bibby Ross. Oh man. Hopefully we save it for when we have a little bit of paint on the canvas, yeah. Then we'll take this toilet brush and start just tapping it on the canvas. Cotton swab. Also, right. Oh, we were talking about Doritos 3D today. You like them? They weren't intriguing to me, Lynn, but now that you recommend, maybe I shall. Okay, where's my red? Alright, so next color combo is going to be red and yellow to make a nice orange. So as I said, everybody, we'll be doing a similar technique, just back and forth, lots of paint, but we're going to work a little bit more kind of on top of the wet paint this time. So I'm going to lay a base layer of kind of like what I would call a medium orange, just a nice regular orange. And then we'll kind of use reds and yellows to add all of the nice lights that we're going to have in our lampposts. So first of all, I'm going to, again, use your preferred brush. I'm still using this large flat one. You could use a medium round, whatever you want, just anything to go back and forth with. And I'm mixing together red and yellow. I would say maybe a little extra yellow, maybe. It's kind of more of a medium orange what I'm making right now. There's yellow, there's red, there's in between. Again, you can lightly mix it if you want to keep it all marbly. Grabbing my yellow again. They are delicious. Everyone seems to be raving about them. I don't know what it is. They went well, I'm in bed. Okay, yeah, it's late. The volcano was split, Chappie. Did you see that? Okay, and everyone, I'm just going back and forth in this section here so you can fill up the whole section for now. Yeah, Chappie, I split the volcano plate right after New Year's. It's currently up here. You can't really see it, but I'm happy to show you a little later if you stick around. I just don't like to do little breaks like that during toots, but yeah, we split it in half, and now I'm starting Volcano Plate 2.0. You can see it's actually already quite thick. We started on January 15th. The date is on the bottom. So we're gonna keep tracking its progress. I've been taking pictures here and there as it's growing, so we can really see how long it takes to really turn into a volcano. So I'm continuing to call this volcano plate even though it's not quite the volcano yet. Alright, so I'm not getting a whole lot of marbling, so I'm gonna start to get a little more dicey here and grab some yellow and just pile it in there. There we go. In terms of these edges, everybody, I know it's going to be hard to get it like right up close to the blue, especially because the blue is wet. You don't want to be mixing those. So I'll just recommend it's okay if you leave a little bit of a gap because we will be cleaning up these edges later with a nice dark purple. Yeah, so don't worry about that too much. And then if you're like me and you find that this yellow-orange mixture is a little bit transparent, you could add a little bit of white to it. And that's what I am doing a little bit here. It actually started honestly by accident, but I'm now adding it on purpose because I find my orange in general and yellow in general is very transparent. You can kind of see through it even if it's the only color on the canvas. So adding a little bit of white does help that. So I'm going to add just a teeny bit of white in mine. It turns it a little more of like a creamsicle tone, but I don't mind it. I'd rather have that with a nice opaque coat rather than a transparent coat. No, says Chappie, no! It was very controversial. I can't believe you missed that. People were like trying to halt the the splitting of the volcano plate. Save volcano plate. It was a whole event. Yeah, it was a I did it live on stream. It took like an hour. It was like an hour to an hour and a half of cutting. It was very tough. But don't worry, that's why we're making another one. We can make another one. It can live on, so don't you worry. And the cut was really cool. Again, I'd love to show it to you if you're around a little later. I know it's late, but any other time, as long as it's not during a tutorial, I'll get up and get it and show it instantly to you. You're gonna run out of yellow? You could use a little more orange if you want, Kohaku, and just make it more of a dark orange, or you can use white. The white will kind of help with keeping it like a nice kind of medium orange as well. Alright, I'm almost at the bottom, everybody. And again, as a reminder, I'll be playing with this a little bit in here. Just 2 people voted against it. It's true, there wasn't a whole uprising, you're right. It was only 2. Sorry. It was traumatic. Even though only 2 voted Gray, I feel like there were more silent supporters of not splitting. They stood in the background and cried. Oh dear. Heather, welcome in! Hi! We're recreating the rainy street that I did last week. We're doing the step-by-step right now, so you're smack in the middle of a tutorial. How's your evening going? And Ash is here. Welcome in, Ash. Gleb, hi. Still see you there. Haven't seen your brother and I'm sorry. Okay. Alright, so as I said, I'm gonna mess with this a little bit as it's still wet. I'm just gonna go slow still, but I'm just gonna show you a little bit of what I'm doing. First thing I like to do is I like to darken up kind of this left-hand area here, bottom left area, so kind of as we're getting closer to us, I darken things up. So I'm just making sure I'm adding a little more red to my brush and kind of putting it on top. And that'll add a darker area. It doesn't need to be fully red, you can just kind of streak it on as you see me doing. And that just makes it overall a little darker down here. And I'm gonna go right across with that as well. You can see how loose I'm being too. I really like to just loosely put it on, so I'm really caking it on my brush. And I just kind of very loosely go back and forth quickly. Again, keeping all those ridges there. And then keeping it a little bit lighter up here. If you want, you can even add a little bit more yellow or white to your brush. And add a little extra near the top just to make it more of a transition. So it looks from light to dark. I need a little more white, I think. I was just popping back in. Pooping or popping or pooping? Heather, love this one. Thank you, and I'm glad your night's going well. Yeah, it's up there with probably one of my favorites that I've done for tutorials, honestly. Just in terms of the style, I think it's quite different compared to what we usually do. It's a good little mix-up, so I'm glad you like it too. Groke and Gray, same level. I thought I said pooping, oh no. Sky, welcome in, hello! You're just catching me in the middle of a step-by-step tutorial. If you have any questions about what I'm doing or any questions about like certain steps, certain techniques, definitely let me know. Otherwise, there's lots of people not painting tonight and just chatting, so feel free to join on the convo as well, but welcome in. Thanks, Ash. Do you think you'd ever try something like this with all the like textures and just laying on paint like this, even if it's not the same design? Okay, giving a quick minute just for that kind of dark to light, and then I'm going to actually add the yellow on top as things are still a little bit wet. We might not get the very, very bright middles, but it'll still help with kind of a glow. We're going to kind of choose where our lampposts are going to go and just put these little very mixed in wet glows on top. Oh, okay. Similar but not similar. Alright. Yeah. Put it in our share. Would love to see. And just as a heads up, I will be switching brushes. I definitely like to use a smaller brush for the next step, so I'm going to use medium round, just so everybody knows. Rainbowy vibey feeling on his texture. Gotcha. Yeah, okay, so similar idea. Lots of colors, lots of layers. Alright, I got you then, by saying it's the same but not the same. Makes sense, makes sense. So again, I'm switching to my medium round, or any smaller, just like medium-sized brush. The color I'm mixing is going to be a light yellow, so I'm mixing yellow and white on my plate. I'm just going to bring it down here. If it gets a little orange in there, that's okay too. It's just a nice, very light yellow is what I'm trying to make. Very buttery yellow. Something like that. Trying my best to keep it a nice light yellow here. Okay, so we're gonna choose where our lampposts are gonna go. If it helps you, you can definitely use this to create little dots or tick marks where you want your lamppost to go, just to kind of plan ahead, because there is a little bit of a technique to them, right? Again, just for like proper depth, we want to keep the first two a little further apart, and then as they get further away, they're gonna come closer together. Closer together, closer together, close together. So I'm gonna put one kind of maybe right at the bottom here. So if you want, again, do a little tick mark just to show yourself. That way you can kind of plan it out and easily change it if you don't like what you're doing. I'll do a big leap over to about here. So a significant gap between those first two. And then I'm gonna make the next gap a little smaller, so maybe I'll go roughly here. There's no exact math to this. I'm not like cutting it in half or cutting it in a quarter. It's just getting slightly smaller, slightly smaller. All right, next gap is going to be slightly smaller, slightly smaller, slightly smaller. Maybe we'll just kind of end it with that there. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did about 7. 1, 2, 3. Oh, and there's 7 in the original. Perfect. So again, my dots 1, 2, 3, closer, closer, much closer, pretty much stuck together. Once you have those down, then you can probably more confidently go in with your reflections, right? So what I'm doing for the reflections is I'm continuing to grab the nice light yellow on my medium round. And I'm going to do this kind of back and forth, left and right motion. Again, very quickly. Kind of going straight down from the little tick mark. So you can see kind of left, right, left, right, left, right. You can see how it mixes a little bit. That's why I wanted to do this while it was still wet. We will add a second layer on top to keep it nice and bright. You can see this very, very bright middle. We're gonna do that once everything's dry, so don't worry about achieving that now. For now, it's just kind of mapping out where these little reflections are going and allowing it to mix. And that way we have kind of a blended area as well as a very bright area right in the middle. So trying to get it straight down. This one kind of tilted a little bit, so I'm just gonna add a few more streaks on the left to balance it out. Again, I try not to go over top too many times or else it'll keep blending and blending. I want it to be, again, all individual brush strokes, so trying my best to leave it alone once I've applied it. And you can make these strokes a little smaller because, of course, each lamppost will be getting closer together, right? So just to save room, you don't want to be doing the same big, big brush strokes every time. You can make them a little smaller as you go. Where's my yellow? There it is. And if you ever make a mistake, or maybe again, like one of your reflections wasn't totally straight, or just something about it is off, you can always re-grab the orange on your brush and use that to cover up any yellow that you don't like. So feel free to do that at any time. Posted good. What's the color? Oh, yellow and white, Lynn. Yellow and white. And you can see it's kind of mixing with the orange, right? So you can see if it mixes a little as it goes, that's okay. Don't worry about it. But yeah, this first step you can be a lot messier with. You can see some of the gaps are closing up a little bit. I'm not too worried. It'll be more so the second step of adding the very bright middles later on, where I want to be a little cleaner. So don't worry too much if it's looking pretty messy right now. And like I said before, you can always re-add things if you need to re-add some orange to help split these up a little bit. If they kind of combined a little bit, you can always do that either now or later. Doesn't matter. Yeah, especially when I get further up, or I guess further away, I'm starting to do very small brush strokes because I don't have a lot of room to add these little reflections without interfering with the other ones, right? So make them a little bit smaller. These are very, very close together. Everything's kind of shifting on mine, it looks like. They're all kind of moving a little left. So again, don't worry too much. If they're all combining a little bit, you can still see slightly individual areas. And we'll just make sure with the highlights we're a little bit cleaner and a little more in the middles of those areas, right? We can re-split them up. Lily, thank you for the follow. That's a cute name, Lily Lavender. Welcome in. You caught me in a step-by-step acrylic painting tutorial. If you have any questions, let me know about what I'm doing or about the techniques or anything. Oh, yeah, I know we discussed that before, Charlene. I like the idea of a dolphin. I like the idea of a mermaid. I had requests not to put it on a rock. People were saying that people have done that. Other tutorials have done that a lot. So maybe like a different style with the mermaid, you know, different scenery with the mermaid. But otherwise, I'm open to it for sure. Yeah, you're welcome, Lily. And again, welcome to the chat. There's lots of people here not painting rather too, like not painting along. So feel free to just chat as well. Either way. Yeah, welcome in. Alright, so I'm going to keep leaving that. I'm just going to leave it for another minute in case anyone's still adding reflections. I actually missed a tiny bit here. This first one doesn't get much of a reflection because it's so close to the bottom, right? But we also can't forget about it, so let's go a little higher. There we go. Something like that. Cool. Bathing in the sun or riding a dolphin. That's something else. 2 in 1 with that one, Charlene. I shall think about it. I'll continue to think about it. Okay, so after this step, we're going to actually leave this area alone a little bit. We can come back to it later. We'll be going up to Big Ben next, for those wondering. We'll be doing the clock tower next. At this point, it'll be pretty dry around the edges. Again, there might be small little blobs here and there, which shouldn't interfere too much. But for the most part, dry, which is good. Yeah, I use all the same supplies every time too, Lily. I try and keep it consistent. No, you're good. And those are totally flexible, Lily. Like, if you don't have that brand, if you have lots of different colors rather than my basic 5, all that's fine. It's all very custom to whatever you want. Yeah, for sure. Oh, perfect, perfect, yeah. And then YouTube, I guess, as well. I do these weekly, so you'll probably find me on Friday nights at 8 p.m. doing them. I have a hydrangea design coming up for next week. Ugh. There you go. Oh, that is upside down. And then I have a YouTube page with all of them already posted, so if you want to see any of my past ones, they're pretty much all there. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we're getting to more springy designs now with all the spring weather coming up. I want to do all these nice flowers and stuff. Yeah. So that'll be not tomorrow, excuse me. Next week at 8 p.m. EST. Yeah, yeah. And again, feel free to hang out if you have any questions, let me know. Alright, I'm going to move on to the clock tower here now that we've done all of this area in the sidewalk. So I'm going to move back to my flat brush because you can see we're doing lots of this kind of like square texture again. If you need to move to a different brush just to get kind of like the smaller details in here, that's okay. There's not a whole lot of details, but I just understand there's a little bit more like color mixing and shading and stuff. Alright, so I'm going to go back to my orange. The orange that I started with, I call it just a regular orange. Red and yellow, excuse me, mixed together. Ah, thank you, Gray. Bot is sleeping. There it is, there it is. It took a minute. Okay. And I'm just going to start filling in the clock tower. Kind of similar to this. I'm going to fill it all in with a nice orange, and then we'll start to darken and lighten as we need. I'll make this a little darker in total, I think. And then with the edges, we don't need to blend them again. We want them to be a little bit harsher. So we're not looking to blend. It's not going to be wet on wet because these are probably going to be a little bit dry at this point. So I'm just kind of brushing into them, kind of on top or into them. So it won't really look like it's blended, but it also won't look like a harsh line going all the way down, right? You're kind of blending on top a little bit, not blending, excuse me, just stroking on top. Very lightly. So it can be kind of a messy edge, right? We don't want it to be perfectly straight up and down. We want it to match with the rest of the vibe of the painting. Yeah. Yeah, poor Bot. Bot's trying its best, you know? Poor Bot. With the water, I'm just trying to get as tight as possible without, you know, overlapping into it. We will actually be adding some, like, dark green bushes later, so things like this little water line here, or whatever you want to think of it as, it'll be fixed up a little later. Oh man. Everyone's just like, yep, Bot, I understand. Me too, Bot, me too. Every week seems kind of long, but also kind of short. It's all very messed up, isn't it? Next Friday is a holiday for us in Canada. It's Easter weekend, or at least I was told I was off Friday. I think it is, yeah, it's Easter weekend. I always forget what day off that means. It's been a while since that's really, like, mattered in my life, because I didn't really get days off with my last business. Yeah, and I always forgot if it was the Friday or Monday, like Good Friday, Easter Monday. I think it's the Friday though, yeah. Yeah, and honestly, it crept up on me again as these things are starting to do, and I didn't make an Easter painting. We have the hydrangeas next week, which I guess is kind of like, you know, fun. I wouldn't say it's Eastery, but it's springy, so at least we have a spring painting, but yeah, I didn't really do like a bunny or eggs or anything like that. So, But I'm glad you're off on Friday, yeah. Alright, so we're going to add a little bit of shading and highlights to this. So what you can do with your brush is grab a little bit of red. I like to add some shading on the left-hand side, especially near the top. I'm going to try and avoid where the clock face is going to go specifically, so you can kind of stick to the left-hand edge. But at the same time, you know, go a little more into the middle as you come further down. And again, I'm just doing straight red paint, plopping it on top. Stroke, 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 stroke. You can see how it gets a little darker. In case anyone's kind of noting, because I know I am, the slight shade change in the orange, this and this, it looks almost muddier in my original. And it is because when I was experimenting, I actually had purple underneath this stuff, and I think that's what's happening. I think it kind of changed the orange into this kind of muddier color. I'll be honest, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to keep it very bright like you see here. If you like the muddy color, I understand, and that's okay. You could mix a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of blue into this red, and that'll give you kind of a reddish purple, and that'll kind of muddy it up here. I'll show it to you just in case anyone's hoping to do that, because it does change it a little bit, and I'm just, you know, acknowledging that it is slightly different. If I add a tiny bit of blue, see how it kind of muddies it up a bit? So you could do that if you want it to be a little closer to what I have here. But otherwise, I was honestly going for a very bright look, and it's just because I was changing the painting as I was going. That's what happens when I'm doing it on Twitch live. It's, yeah, I make little, you know, decisions here and there. I'm like, oh, I'm going to change this, or I didn't need that, and I started a lot of this painting with a purple base layer, which I did not need to do. So that's, I think, what happened. It just kind of made things a little muddier. So just wanted to point that out in case anyone actually liked that look. Because I understand if you see it in the original, you're like, hey, I want to do it that way. So a little bit of blue to your red is the option there. Yeah, rusty, exactly. It's like a rusty color, for sure. Yeah, hopefully that's getting a similar... It's honestly a little hard on my screen, too. I know my screen shows colors slightly different, but you can see it coming through a little bit more. So I just wanted to acknowledge that for sure. Yeah, it's like a rusty red. You can do blue... I know I'm not using black, but if you mix a tiny bit of black into any of these colors, it'll make it a little rustier. Chicken Noodle Easter painting. Oh, yeah, I know, we kind of missed out on it because it's next week. But we could play around. We could play around next week with some stuff. Egg, 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 egg. Oh, you're welcome, Nijwana. I'm really glad you're having a good time just watching. I know you said you want to paint later, but I'm glad you're hanging out. Like a chicken doodle hunt. Oh man. I was describing you can lighten as well. If you want to lighten up kind of the bottom corner, you can add some yellows or a white and just kind of pile that on top a little bit. So again, I kind of stick that near the right hand side. See how that lightened it up a little bit. Maybe I'll add some white just to see that. Again, just stroking on top, very textured, very loose. Again, kind of keeping this open. I will be touching this up in just a minute or two, so for now I'll just leave this as is. You can see it all nice and textured. Giant clump of blue in my border. Oh, you would you could even wipe it away, Elvin, if you want. It depends how much you want to leave it there. If you like all the texture, you could just let it dry a little. I would honestly just take my finger though and go whoop, and kind of take it off, and then put the orange there just so it's not interrupting your design. No worries, Magic. No, I understand. No problem. Have a good sleep. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow. If not, no worries. Keep resting up. I need my white paint ready to go. Yeah, with the season change, I'm sure everyone's getting a few more little, like, random headaches. I know I had one or two this week. Not fun. Yeah, thankfully I don't get them often. It's really just weather and season stuff. It's weird how that affects me. Okay, so the last little step for now for the clock face, we do have a couple small details later to add, is we are adding the clock face now. So the clock face is pretty much a very, very buttery yellow, so I use mostly white with maybe a tiny bit of yellow in there. Here's the color I'm grabbing right here on my big brush because I still want it nice and textured. Again, you can switch to a smaller brush if you want. But I'm going right on top. You can see the orange is still a little bit wet, so you might want to reapply here and there as you stroke it on, but this is kind of, again, the point. I want it to be a little bit mixed in. I don't want it to be a very solid circle, right? So I'm just doing my same brush strokes left and right, or I guess diagonal, back and forth, I should say, and trying to get somewhat of a circle in there. You can see it's a very rough circle. It doesn't need to be exact. And I'm just going to keep wiping off my brush, reapplying some paint if it starts to mix too much with the orange, and very lightly stroking on. So using just a little bit of pressure and just kind of letting it drag on with the fresh paint allows it to stick on a little bit better. If it's just showing through too much, the orange that is, you can always let it dry a little bit longer. You can apply this while it's a little sticky or when it's dry if you prefer, but I kind of like the, I like the messiness. Again, you can see it's a very light spot now, but I do have orange slightly showing through. All the nice marbled looks there. So I'm gonna leave it as is personally. Sparrow, hello! Oh, thank you, Sparrow, I appreciate it. How's your evening going? Or late evening, I think. I forget your time zone. Okay, I'm just trying to plan what we have next here. We can probably start to layer on some colors. Again, the order of this painting is not, you know, super set in stone. There will of course be a few foreground elements we have to wait for, but in terms of the next few colors, you can really do any variety coming up here. You'll see. I think we can do pink next. I think that would be nice to add on top. Okay, another quick half minute. And I'll be using the same large flat brush just so everybody knows we still have lots of these little textured bits to add. Is it very wrong? Oh no, just vegging. Okay, cool. Makes sense. Yeah. Enjoy the show then. No worries, Sparrow, if you want to do a little more of a lurk tonight. Totally understandable. I'm sorry to hear that things didn't go so hot at work. Oh dear. Yeah, veg out. Nice little chill Friday night for you then. Alright, so yeah, next color we're going to add is pink. Again, it's not really mandatory to add pink next, but I'm going to choose pink personally. We're starting to get into the colors that now go on top of the colors that are a little more dry. So yeah, you can see a few little pink spots scattered on the green, maybe a tiny bit in the blue, the green in here. We'll go back, we'll add maybe a couple purple ones. Purple hasn't really been used except for in here, so we can incorporate it elsewhere. And then we will kind of wait to add these nice light colors on top. That'll be important to have a nice dry surface for these oranges and the very nice light buttery yellows. So both here and here we want to wait for a little bit. So yeah, let's just go back into our pink. We're using that same large flat brush. Again, any pink your heart desires. I'm just using a regular pink, so white and red mixed together. And again, this should be mostly dry at this point. You might want to look for large bumps. I see a couple here. But for the most part, I can just kind of go on top now and add a couple little strokes like that. I know it's going to look quite weird at the start. You're gonna be like, oh no, it kind of looks wrecked. But again, trust me, the more you add, the better it looks. Not just the pink, I just mean all of the colors. So I'm gonna add a couple of these pink ones. See, I'm making them very spaced out. I don't want to clutter it all up. I don't want to turn it into a pink section. I just want to kind of dot them in very sporadically, or as sporadically as I can. I'll do maybe a couple in here. Again, very quick and loose. Again, I'm not trying to blend them. They should be going on a dry surface right now. Because pink and green, for example, would not mesh well if they were wet. Maybe that's something like that. We're just trying to clutter it up a bit. If you want to add maybe a tiny bit of pink, I can't tell if I did. I don't think I added any in here, but if you like the idea of splicing in some pink, go for it, go for it. Yeah, Jules, yeah. It kind of comes together real quick, doesn't it? Watch, should I see it? Sure, I pull up my purple color. Oh no! We have a tiny bit, Lynn. We put purple here. We have, kind of the medium purple, I guess. Oh, yeah. Too bad. Oh, dear. Not a lot of purple, you're right. But again, it's your painting. You could have made, like, this whole section purple if you want, or any section purple if you want. Just pile it on top. See how it looks. Purple's honestly the next color I was going to add a little bit of. I didn't add a lot, but I'll show you. For whatever reason, I said, let's add a couple little light purples in here. Looks like maybe none over there, but you could add them again really anywhere you want. So I'll do purple next for those wanting the purple. I'm doing red and blue just like we did over here. I'm going to mix in mine a little bit of white just to lighten it up a tad. Trying to get the white out of that yellow mixture there. So it's a little lighter. I'll put that on top as well. Maybe I want it a little lighter than that. Not very bright looking. Dancing away. I think I do want to add a little to my water as well. It looks like I added some like darker purple there, so I'll just kind of splice in a couple little streaks of purple in there. Just a wee bit. Especially kind of near the top, that way it looks a little bit darker. If you're adding purple closer to the top, it looks a little more shaded. So that's a nice idea. Cool. And I know I'm going a tiny bit quick here. I'm just going to do one more color and then I can give you a little bit of a rest. I'm just going to do a little bit of green. We have a lot of green already in our green sections, of course, so I'm really focusing kind of like in the blue section. I'll do a couple quick little hits of green there. And it doesn't really look like I put it anywhere else, so I'm just going to, as I said, do a couple near the sky area there just to fill it in a little bit more. Maybe a little more light green because I think I lost the light green in here. So yeah, you can see it adds a little bit if I do some light greens. Oh yeah, the very bright ones. Yeah. So again, this is not yellow. This is just a light green that I'm adding. Maybe in here too. This is, again, where you can have a lot of fun if you want to just do different shades of the same color, like making a light version or a dark version. All of that can be added, just stacked on top. Now we can see it's starting to kind of come through with the look there, all the different layers. Okay, so just as a reminder, I'm going to take a pause here. I added pink, purple, and green, just kind of scattered anywhere in these little sections. I didn't really scatter a lot in here, but you could if you want, really wherever you want. I'm just washing off my brush in preparation, trying to figure out what we have next here. We'll probably do a little bit more work on Big Ben, and then we'll do the lampposts. Thanks, Groki. Thanks for the lurk, Heather. Appreciate it. So yeah, for Big Ben, you can kind of see, just as you're all finishing up here, we can see a little bit more detail. I'll zoom in. It's really nothing special. It's just to give it a little more of a clock tower look. I just like to go on with a couple quick little wisps of my brush, a few little lines. Makes it, yeah, just a little more structured. A little more like the original design of Big Ben. So we'll do that, and then we can go in with all these darker spots here. Oh, and the reflection, we gotta do that too. Can't forget. Okay. So if you're ready with that, I'm going to use now my medium round brush. So I've switched down a little bit again. And I'll be mixing red with just a little bit of blue. So similar to what I was saying, if you want the rusty color, right? See how this is, again, kind of a rusty red color? We can obtain that by doing red with a little bit of blue. So it's like we're almost making a purple, but not quite. If you do lots of blue, you'll get a straight purple. If you do lots of red with a little bit of blue, it kind of looks like a maroon color. You could technically call it a reddish purple, but to me it just kind of looks like a darker, rustier red. So what I like to do is just a couple horizontal lines, and what I'm doing is I'm just using the tip of my brush just very loose. Again, you can see it's not like a harsh straight line. I just kind of wisp it back and forth. Couple little brush strokes. Let's go down to the middle. Do the sound effects too, it always helps. And we'll do one at the bottom. And then I do 3 vertical lines in each section here. So I'm doing maybe 1 in the middle and then 2 on either side. You can see how loose they are. Again, they are not perfectly straight. They are not perfect edges. I want them to be looser to keep with the looseness of the painting. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Yeah, just gives it a little more structure. And just to give it even more of a little bit of detail, I did that with a little bit of a lighter orange as well, just kind of along the left-hand sides. See how it just gives it a little bit of a light kind of highlight on those ridges. And again, it might kind of mix with your orange as you're going, like the background. So with your base of Big Ben, and that's okay too. You can do some verticals or horizontals if you want. It just kind of makes it a little more three-dimensional to have those 2 colors, right? You have the dark and the light. It makes it look more like there's maybe indentations or something poking out, either or. Anyway, again, I just want to keep reminding you how it's supposed to be kind of messy. Yeah, it's supposed to be kind of just mixing all together, not perfectly straight. That's the whole idea of this whole thing, really. Love the sound effects, yep. Yep, copyright sound effects. But they help with painting, absolutely. Just giving a quick minute, and then we're going to carry the orange down. Remember, we have this reflection. I did add that right on top of the blue in my original. So again, this blue should be mostly dry. If it is not, you can maybe wipe a little away. I just had a quick little bump of blue there, but everything else seems to be okay. So as long as it's dry, we can put it right on top. So I'll just leave a quick minute there. Yeah, it's kind of it's like a light orange, actually, I would say, Charlene. It's kind of like this light orange I was using in here. Anything lighter than the orange, so you can do straight white if you want. I think straight white might be a little bit bright on top, but if it mixes, it might not be, right? Oh, welcome back, Allie. Thinking the same, yep. Queen, welcome in. Hi, I love this. What technique is it? What would you call this? I wouldn't call this impressionistic. It's kind of just more of like a textured, very messy look, Queen. I'm honestly not professional. I teach people how to paint and I use words like blob and smush, you know? I honestly don't have a name. Scrambled? Yeah. Checkers? Something like that. Oh, man. Yeah, did someone say blob? Yeah. Queen, I wish I could give you a better answer. Just very textured. Yeah, impressionistic, it kind of borders on. Impressionistic is the idea of adding lots of like big strokes, not big strokes, small strokes, and then all together they make a picture in a way. So kind of bordering maybe. But welcome in. If you have more questions, let me know and I'll try to answer. Yeah, smoosh. Still on schedule? No, because I haven't switched. The schedule was I should have been switched by now, Ham, but I haven't, so I'm not on schedule. Slapping the paint on. Yeah, I slap it on. It is acrylics. Yes, Queen. I can answer that confidently. It is acrylics. Yeah. If you're curious about all the supplies I'm using, you can type supplies in the chat. I'll just do it for you there. There you go. Yeah. It has all the brands and everything just in case you're curious. I do these step-by-step tutorials once a week, and I use the same materials every single time. Yeah, I think it borders on it, yeah. I guess I feel like, even impressionistic, I feel like even use smaller brushstrokes than this, you know? But I agree, it kind of borders on it for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Pizza's right. So I should shout that out. Again, I didn't because I can't pronounce the name, the name. Leonid Afromov. It's honestly what I heavily base the technique off of. He does a fantastic series of like kind of park scenes and stuff like that. Lots of beautiful colors, lots of these like kind of square brush strokes. That's really where I found that technique. But yeah, if you look up the name that This Is It Pizza said, you can see all of his work as well, and I kind of use that as a base idea for sure. Impressionist makes you dizzy a little bit. Yeah, it will be bushes. Yeah, I'll be adding that a little bit later for sure. All right, let's go ahead and do this reflection here. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of any medium orange on my brush. I would recommend making sure you have a little bit of white in there, because that way it'll stick on top of the blue a little bit nicer. And I'm just once again doing this kind of back and forth, very loose motion. So like I said, if you see a little blue through, that's great. I like seeing the blue through, so it makes it look a little more like a proper reflection, like there's just little pieces of orange kind of hitting the water. And I'm just going anywhere straight down from the clock tower, so making sure the edges don't go too far out from this edge here. They can of course go a little bit further because it is a reflection, it's very messy, but otherwise trying to keep it right below. So again, a light orange. Again, you're welcome to splice in darker oranges, lighter oranges if you want. I'll do that kind of on the left. I just spliced in a little dark orange. Queen, thanks for the official follow. Thank you, thank you. I'll check the chat in a second. Yeah, what I do, Queen, is I kind of teach step by step. There's lots of people painting along right now. Some people are not. Some people are just kind of here to hang out and chat. So I kind of switch back and forth between teaching and chatting. Thanks for your patience. I think I'll add a little bit more. Yeah, and add some light oranges on top. Anything to keep kind of splitting up the colors. There we go. That's a little nicer. Cool, cool. I'll leave that alone. Just dankies in chat all day. Trying not to touch it. I'm breaking my rule. There we go. Let's leave it alone. Leave it alone. I guess while you have the light yellow, if you're using light yellow on top, you could as well splice it, and I'll just kind of note that. You can do a couple of these little guys in here. Just because we'll be doing the lamppost soon, and that'll kind of have a little bit of reflection in here. Just a few little glints of yellow. Wherever you want. Especially closer in where the lampposts will be. Not painting right now, but I'll totally paint next time. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you're more of a watercolor fan. Gotcha. Yeah, I would say I work pretty much exclusively in acrylics, Queen. I've done a tiny bit of oil. I do a little bit of watercolor, mostly in my bullet journal. I sometimes do bullet journaling streams where I kind of set up my bullet journal with like a schedule and stuff. And I'll do little like spreads and art pieces, and sometimes I whip out watercolor for that, but I'm not experienced in it. I just kind of blob color on and make it look all cute and fancy with the water. I don't know. It's just like blotchy and nice. But otherwise I'm no professional with watercolor for sure. But I've had people kind of follow along with my tutorials. If it's the right design, they can replicate it in watercolor. I would say this one probably not, because there's so much layering. Like all the nice bright colors on top, but there's lots of other designs I've done that I know people have followed along with for their tutorial using watercolor. So yeah, you can always give it a try with your own medium if you want. Oh no, Kohaku! And we need a little more too, especially for the lights. We can use white, I guess, if you have white. Again, if you have any like spare orange on your plate that you've used before, put white in there, and that'll kind of extend its use. Hopefully that helps, Kohaku, but yeah, yellow's pretty mandatory in this one, unfortunately. Okay, before we move on, I just want to make sure we're not missing anything. Yeah, we're nearing the final steps here. Okay, so let's do, now what we're going to do is we're going to do kind of the dark parts here. So we have kind of this dark purple that borders the sidewalk. It's going to clean it all up. And we also have these dark lampposts as well. So I'm going to keep using the medium round brush. And I'm just mixing together red and blue, our nice purple combo. And we want it to stay dark, so I'm not mixing any white in here. I'm just doing red and blue. You can see it's a nice, very dark color. That's exactly what we want for the next few steps here. So medium round, or just any medium-sized brush, anything with like a point or a flat edge is fine as well. That'll give you a nice straight edge. Paint straight from the bottle. Okay, Kohaku, I hope you can make it work. Dark purple. And again, I like the idea of kind of bordering the sidewalk, so I'm just doing a quick line coming down in between the pink section and the sidewalk. You can thicken it up as much as you need to fill in any gaps. And I'm doing another quick line on this side. So pretty much redoing the lines that we started with, just the two. And again, it does not need to be thin. It does not need to be perfect. If anything, I like it to be a little bit messy, a little bit streaky, kind of along the edges. It's not perfect at all. Not smooth. You can see how that just kind of like cleans it up a little bit more. Man, you guys are so dancy today. Nice to use margarita. Ooh, yay, Lynn, I'm so glad. More experience with it. Acrylics I haven't done in a long time. Oh, okay, but you have used them. Cool, cool. Oh yeah, it's hard not to when there's so many dankies dancing around. Welcome aboard. Dankies for days. While you're explaining in a way everyone can understand. Yeah, thank you, Queen. It's my goal. Just think yeah, no, it's my absolute goal, Queen, to make sure everybody knows that things are easier than they look. As long as you can break them down a little bit more. It's amazing what people can create. I think it's always just very intimidating seeing like a final piece, you know, and it's like, how the heck am I going to create that? But I try my best to like really go nice and slow, make it very, very attainable, but still impressive, right? It's not like, oh, I just created an average piece. Like, I love this. I love this design. I think a lot of people do too, and I think a lot of people are proud when they can make the designs I make. So yeah, it's the absolute goal. And again, yeah, the same supplies every time. Because I know it's the pandemic and we don't want to be running out to the store for new supplies every day, so yeah. Molly, hello! Download the app so I can ask a question. Oh, no worries, yeah. It's painting from inspiration. Yeah, I used a few different inspos. We had the name of the artist. I'm going to call it out again to give some credit here. Leonid Afremov is the main inspo. That name there, if you want to Google that name, you can see a lot of his work. Just like the idea of all the very square brushstrokes with lots of layers of color. And then I looked up a few little photos of London. I didn't want to create, of course, like the exact like scenery or design of the artist. So I looked up a photo of London, did kind of a sidewalk, Big Ben, and then kind of went from there. Yeah, what I try and do, Molly, is I try and look at like 3 or 4 different things, be it paintings or photos, and then I try and put them all together to make it as original as possible while still drawing inspiration. So yeah, that was the idea for this one. Exactly, breakdown pieces. Yeah. Thank you, Queen. I appreciate it. Yeah. I don't have my other designs cycling on my layout right now, but usually I do. But anyway, you're welcome to check out the YouTube and you can see them all there too. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'll get back to this here. So purple we can use for the lamppost as well. So remember how we did that nice big line here? Again, I want you to try and visualize that line again. Visualize it. You can almost visualize it by looking at the blue to green area, right? Like this kind of carries that line up. And what I'm trying to do with that is figure out the height of my lampposts. We already know where they're going because of our reflections that we did. We just want to make sure we're getting the height right. We want them, again, taller to begin with. And then they get shorter as they get further away from us. So I'm going to start it very nice and tall, like about here. So again, I'm just using the dark purple, the same color we were just using. Again, does not have to be perfectly straight or anything. I'm just going up and down, and I'm ending it anywhere kind of in that blue-green area. Thanks, there's my YouTube, dinner's ready. No worries, I think that makes sense, Kohaki. You can kind of save all the finishing touches for later when you have some yellow. Sounds good. Enjoy your dinner. Thanks, Molly. Just gonna add a second one here. Again, there's my second reflection, so I'm just gonna come up into that blue-green. So you can see how it ended just a little bit shorter than the last one. It's gonna keep doing that. It's gonna get shorter, shorter, shorter all the way to the end here. Hello, music. Why did you stop? Wow, Spotify just shut down. That's lovely. Try again. I'll do a third one here. Again, coming a little shorter. There it goes. Silent, hello! I'm finding the paints I'm using quite transparent. Oh no! Adding white, I know I've said it before and maybe you've already tried it, but I just keep adding white, and the white really saves a lot of my transparent paints personally. But if it's still not working after adding white, I'd maybe look into changing brands, honestly. I'm a big believer in making your brands work, and that's why I use the white in mine. It seems to work, but if that's not doing it, then maybe try upgrading just a little bit more. I still don't think anyone needs like the most expensive paints in the world. But, yeah. Maybe just like $1 more or $2 more will get you that increased quality there that you need. So again, you can see if you look at the tops, they're basically going from tall to short down to that little point again, right? Todd here with some of the most expensive paints in the world. You don't really need them. There we are. Take it from Todd. I've never bought anything above the, I would say, medium price range. I have some thicker paints for very specific things, but yeah, for all the tutorials and all of my other paintings, honestly, I use all these Academic Acrylics, the thin ones. And it works. You just gotta layer sometimes, or again, add more different colors to them. Okay, and then aside from the lamppost, the other reason we have dark purple is for a tree or two. I did add a tree over here, and then like maybe some branches coming onto the other side. Out from the other side, I should say. So I'm just using the same brush with my dark purple. And I'm just gonna do, you know, a nice straight up and down line. Anywhere you like. I kind of started like maybe mid sidewalk here, but you can start wherever. Again, it's your painting. Put this tree wherever you want. It's nice and tall. This is a nice big tree, so it kind of comes up into the green section. And I'm just using the tip to do some branches, so I'm just kind of following up along the trunk and then splitting away with some thin lines, so just kind of making either V shapes or Y shapes coming off of the tree. That might be a little hard to see just because it's against the dark green. That might be a little easier. See all those? I'll do that again here. So I'm coming up the trunk, then I'm splitting off, just kind of making a little wobbly line coming off, and they're all coming off at an angle, so V shapes, Y shapes, anything like that. Maybe splitting those a second time or adding a small little twig at the ends. Just filling it up little bits. I'm not really making a complicated tree at all. It's just a few little branches here and there. I use the cheapest paints, none. Yeah, Grok, I think that's a good point. If you're using oils, then that can make a big difference. But acrylics, I honestly think there's not a huge difference. Or at least that you can, you know, work with the cheaper kinds. That's just in my experience. I really haven't felt the need to go up in value. Or quality, I should say, not value. Dollar store. So I've never used dollar store paints, Ash, and I've heard mixed reviews. Some people say they work totally fine, and I'm speaking for my tutorials, I guess, when they follow along. I've heard some that think they're garbage, and I've heard some that think it's just certain colors. So yeah, they do sell paint, Todd. So honestly, it's mixed reviews, and I've never used them. Sounds good, Molly. No worries. Have a great evening. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, I know you don't like the basics, which is so different for me, Todd, because I love Liquitex basics. So as I said, if you want to fill up this left-hand area even more, you could add a couple branches. Didn't really add a whole tree. I just kind of added a couple branches coming into view. So just kind of angled lines and then maybe a branch or two here and there. No big deal. And I think that's all for the dark purple for now. We're going to leave the dark purple of the people for later. The peepo. Paint with it you can afford. Absolutely. Yeah, if you want to splurge, go for it. Like you might like the more expensive paints. I think I'm just kind of used to what I know. And that's another tip is like, if you get used to something, you're probably just going to stick with it. If you get used to the really expensive stuff, you'll probably like the more expensive stuff better, right? But yeah, can afford Crayola Tempera, go for it. Absolutely. Todd said it best there. Yep, Ham is right too. It's about expressing yourself, not the materials. Yeah, oil paints are expensive regardless. Good point. You just get more expensive. It's just like pricier. Yeah, for oils. It's fine. Just $5 per tube per color, and then you have a whole set of colors, and then it's like $70. Yep. Is it? That's pretty big. But that's one color, though. I don't know how much 37 mils, but it's not big, is it? Like, I pay 15 to 20 for 2 liters. 2 liters! That's 2,000 mils for those not using metric. Thank you. So yeah, I will say acrylics till I die for that. Cat paints, welcome in. I guess you paint. Hello. If you have any questions about what I'm doing, let me know, Kat. Welcome in. Or if you want to tell us about your painting too, I'm down to hear it. Got a local place that does semi-annual sale. Oh, that's a good discount. Yeah, it's all perspective too. Depends on like, yeah, the quality and everything too. It sounds like a good price though, Kohaku, so that's good. All right, so I've added my purple. I want to highlight a little bit too. You might notice there's a little bit of like a yellow edge to some of these to really help it pop out. So I'm going to add that now. Even though the purple might still be a little bit wet, you can see the yellow does kind of blend a little bit. So if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But yeah, in my original, it did blend a little bit because I added it right after. So if that happens to you, no worries. If you'd rather keep it clean, you can let it dry for another minute or two, but you might find that it goes on pretty clean right now anyway. Give it a try. You can always cover it if you don't like it. So I'm using my medium round and I'm using yellow and white mixed together. And again, very quickly and just like very thin, I'm just going along the edge of each pole. So I'm choosing the right hand side. You can choose either side. I would say as long as you're consistent, I think that's totally fine. Switch the side if you need to. There's a nice little strip on that side. Log off soon. Sounds good, sounds good. Yeah, thanks. You too, Lori, if I don't catch you. I don't know if I'll be too much longer here. You can see I'm kind of getting to nearing the end. I'm not quite at the end, but I'm nearing it. But yeah, have a good evening if I don't see you. Otherwise, hope to see ya. Okay, I'm doing this, the two edges of the sidewalk here and just choosing the outside edges for that. Again, it gives it a nice little highlight. And I like to do the tree as well. You can see how the tree really kind of blends on top of everything despite all the light colors. So I thought adding a little bit of a light yellow, you know, edge to some of the branches here and there was a good idea. You can see how it really pops out after doing that. So sticking to the right hand side or bottom edge of some of the branches. Again, you can see how quick I'm going about it. Very messy again. Not the cleanest. So again, that's up to you. If you want to spend a little more time on it and get it super clean, you can. But I do think it matches with the style to keep it a little bit messier. So kind of just flicking your brush, doing quick little wisps. And we're all set. Missed maybe a branch or two, so I'll get those guys here, here, and here. Cool. I'll give a minute or two. We can have a look at that. We're gonna brighten this thing up next. We're gonna add some orange glow to the lamppost, or I guess the actual light of the lamppost next. And then we're gonna go in with our nice light yellow as well. That's probably my favorite part, is adding a nice light yellow glow to everything. And the light yellow kind of splotched everywhere too. So not too much, but some of the most important parts in my opinion. I just really like the lights in this too. How it goes from like dark orange to lighter to very light. Thank you for my style. I'm gonna like try. Oh, you're fine. Oh, where are you lost, Lynn? I can help you catch up if you want. I'm taking a little bit of a minute or two here, so let me know if I can help. And as you know, I'll stick around after too, so if you need to keep taking your time. Oh yes, the margarita. I want to see margarita in action. I've heard so much about the color. Margarita. It sounds so bright and spicy. I bet it looks good. Paint is so wet, I have to slow down. Okay, I gotcha. Okay, yeah, take a little break, Lynn. Maybe you can watch me do the last few steps, and then if you need me to repeat anything, I'll be right here after I'm done, so I can help you through the last little bit if you need. That's good though, Lynn. That means you're adding lots of texture. I think I'm just, maybe it's a little hotter in my room, so things are still drying quite quick. But again, wetness is good. It means that you got lots of blobs of paint on there. You'll get lots of all that, yeah, all that bumpy, ridgy stuff. Love it. I love it personally. Okay. So I'm just going to look at the lights now, everybody. So I'm going to start to add my oranges on top now that everything is mostly dry in here. So yeah, if things are a little wet, maybe give it a couple extra minutes because we do want this to turn out relatively clean. So I'm going to start with more of like a dark orange. and then I'll do some lighter orange, and then one little stroke of a very, very light kind of yellow right in the middle, just for a nice little square of light in the middle. So I'm going back to my large flat brush, and once again I'm going to start by mixing red and yellow for more of a medium toned orange, medium to dark I would say, something like that. Yeah, lots of paint used in this painting too. It's kind of the opposite of what we did the other week with the cactus, where we had almost no paint being used. Red? There it is. My paint ends up going everywhere during tutorials. There's just bottles everywhere. Let's go here. Alright, so we're starting again with more of a dark to medium orange, anything in that range. So I'm starting by going kind of around the top of the lamppost. I don't need to go in the middle quite yet. You can fill up the middle a little if you want, but it's more so putting these orange streaks around. So you're kind of going around this top part here. Again, very loose. These don't need to all be connected into a nice big circle. It's just a general area that you're filling up around the outside. Around the outside, around the outside. Okay, I'm just going around the next one. Again, very loose. Third one, going around, around, around. And of course these kind of circles are getting smaller and smaller. So keep that in mind. You're not going to make this next circle as big as the first one. You're getting smaller because things are getting further in the distance, right? Again, keeping it very loose. There's number 4. And like 4, 5, 6, you can kind of just do a couple little squares. They don't need to go around. They're just kind of moving, you know, into that area. See how it's all big, smaller, smaller, smaller. So that's the first layer of orange. Played some of the Tenant, pretty fun. Oh yeah, okay. Cool, hipster. Man, you were on that quick. Welcome in. It's just alright. Thank you. Just reteaching, I guess it looks okay. Welcome in, hipster. Okay, Sherry says my paint's really wet too. Okay, yeah. Take your time with it. Sorry, I guess my room is maybe a little, again, warmer and everything's drying super quick, but if you guys need to take your time, keep pausing. Again, I'm happy to chat afterwards if I can catch anyone up. Otherwise, you can always go back to the video if I go offline in that time. And yeah, just catch up at your own pace. No worries. Lots of blobs, but it's good. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I do, even though it's not direct light, it's still, well, it is kind of direct, but it's, you know, blocked with a little sheet. But yeah, it's getting hot in here, really. Now that I think about it, it is a little warmer. No worries. A real margarita while you wait for your paint to dry. Yeah, margarita with margarita. Lily agrees. Yes. Nice to have margarita. Mixed feelings and lost my aunt. I gotcha. Yeah, maybe another time. It's a nice idea though, pairing the margaritas together. Kawaku found more yellow. Freak out. Excellent. Alright, so I'm just going in with a medium orange now. So what I've done is I've added a little yellow and a little white. You can see that adds to the opaqueness. No, that's not a word. Makes it brighter. Makes it brighter and stick a little bit better. So white and yellow to my original orange. I'm now going closer to the center, and in the center really. You can kind of start to really fill in the middle of these circles. These little glowy areas. So see how I'm leaving a little, whoops, a little bit of the, yeah, darker orange on the outside. You can, of course, kind of pile on a little bit, but I'm trying to keep these more in the middles where it's getting lighter. Same thing, as it gets smaller, you can just do like a square or two, and that's fine. You don't need to keep the circular shape. Oh, Brittany, thank you. Gorgeous, darling. Gorgeous. Thank you. I think, yeah, I think my apartment's maybe switching over from heat to cool, and maybe they haven't announced it yet, but I've noticed it's getting warmer and warmer. Even though I set it to 70, it was at like 74 today. I was like, okay, it's not what I requested. I'll fix that later. I can't dance, it's too hot. It's too hot. Now I'm thinking of the heat, and it truly is hot in here. That's why everything's drying very quickly. So again, this is what I would call the medium to light orange color. And with this color, if you want to start splotching in a couple little extra squares of this anywhere you want, I think it's a nice extra color to add. So just very minimal. I'm going to add some in the green area, in the pink area. I'm not overlapping the tree. I'm trying to go in between so it looks like it's all in the background still. I like to add a couple kind of on their own in the blue sky here. It's like they're all kind of twinkling, right? They're all twinkling off of the other colors. Excuse me, and a little down here. That's probably enough right there. Cool, so that's just one more color, one more layer in our little collection of colors. Think of snow, yes. I need the cold back right now. I thrive in the cold. Okay. And then the last step, we'll be adding one little square of light in the middle of our lights on our lampposts. So this color is going to be mostly white with just a little bit of yellow. It's that buttery yellow to go right in the middle. So I'll just give a quick 30 seconds and then I'll add those. It's just one little square of each. I know, Lynn, but I like the winter. Hee hee. It's just my apartment, Lynn. Something's wrong. I know something's wrong with it's like the heat's on. I should set it to cool or something like that. You know, the switch over. Anywho, I'll figure that out. Alright, I've got my buttery yellow. Whenever you're ready, you're just going to put one little square. You can maybe do two for the first one if you want. Oh, it's like a heart. Oh, that's precious. But otherwise, I'm just doing one square and I'm trying to keep it a little smaller. You can use kind of the corner of the brush if you need to make smaller squares as they get further away, or just like tapping the brush if you want. But for the most part, I'm trying to just do one quick square. I know it's tough to not touch it. You can see I'm going back and touching it, but try your best to lay it down and not touch it. As I continue to touch it, I will stop. But yeah, one little square or maybe two for the big one. But that's the whole point. It's supposed to be a big glow in the middle. And again, if you like this color, if you want, you could add a couple here and there. I wouldn't add too many because this is a very bright and bold color. Just a couple little swatches if you want. Not many. Cool. Don't follow what I say. Absolutely not. I could, Grog. I could solve it very easily. I'll just suffer, though. Whew. Sometimes it gets cold in Utah. I want to complain. Just try to remember. Yes. 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 Yep. Yeah, if you've ever lived in extreme heat, you know, you're just like, no. I will not complain about this at all. Resist. I'll do a couple in there. Okay. Phew. And while we have that color, we can add it to the reflections down here, of course. I'll just give a quick half minute. I need my attention. Save me. Yeah, I hate it though, hipster, man. Yeah. Humidity, oh, get me out. Dry heat is okay, but anything humid, I'm like, no. Alvin, no worries, take your time. I feel like some people are falling behind because of the paint drying, so no worries, you're in the same boat with a lot of people. I don't have too much to go, I just have this reflection. I'm gonna do some white streaking across, I'll do the people and I guess the bushes, and that's really all that's left. But yeah, keep taking your time. I know a few people are in the situation where things are not drying as quickly as mine is. Insane, Grog, insane. Alright, if you have that nice light color, you can use maybe a medium round brush or something similar. And you're just adding this now on the dry surface more in the very middle of your reflection, so you have that nice glow around. You can see I'm zigzagging back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. You can mess it up a little if you want to by just kind of brushing on top a little. I'm doing that because mine looked a little too in line. But yeah, that's the idea. It creates a very nice bright, bright glow. Right in the middle of everything. I'm going to try and keep it straight, so I'm going to look straight at it. Again, do smaller strokes as you get further in. because you'll have less room to kind of put those strokes with the smaller reflections. Noises. That's pretty good. See how that pumped it up? It's so much lighter now with that extra little step. Yeah, true. We can paint outside soon. Blah, blah, blah. Welcome in. Nice to see you. Way too hot for me. Hum hum, like Brittany said earlier. Oh, my parts are crooked. Okay. Yeah, you could leave it hokey, or you could do like the darker orange and just kind of cut up whatever you need to. If you need to like cut up this side or just shift it this way, you could. Either way. Oh my gosh. Maybe I don't like any heat, hipster. If you describe dry heat like an oven, then I don't like it. Yeah, make your happy little trees, Kohaku. Yeah, it is nice, Lynn and Grok. Please don't answer. I don't want to know if it's no. That's fun. Feed me the information I'd like, please. Thank you. Okay, one more quick minute and then I'm gonna go to the couple in the middle. Promise it's easier than you think. Aw, thanks, Lynn. Yeah, of course. If you need to do it like over 2 days, that's okay. Mm-hmm. Gonna have to travel to investigate myself, yes. But if it's wrong, don't tell anybody, hipster. For science. Absolutely. You're just gonna check the toilets and leave, right? That's the only reason you'd ever go there. Thanks, Charlene. Alright, let's have a zoom in on these people. We can see a little zoom in. That'll give it a lot, make it a lot easier to see what I'm talking about here. Look at that little couple. So what I did, I tried to keep them as simple as possible. You wanna know the inspiration for this shape? The Game of Life. Has anyone played the Game of Life with the little pieces? Little human pieces that you put in the car? Yeah, that's what I looked at. Just little peg legs, little rectangular top, and a little circle for the head. That's really all I tried to do. I maybe added a tiny bit of shape to the shoulders, see how they angle down, but otherwise they're pretty much rectangles. They are little peg legs all together, and then the little circles on top. Miko, welcome in! Hello, the only reason. So I'd recommend a teeny tiny brush for this, of course. I'm going to keep this zoomed in so you can see the people here, but then see the size on my original here, or not the original, the new one. I'm using a purple, so blue and red mixed together, so just a nice dark color. Dark purple for me. I'll start with the heads and work my way down. So I'm just doing 2 circles to begin with. You can see the heads go kind of close to the top of the pathway here. The top of the pathway, the end of the pathway, I should say. So 1 circle, and then right beside it a 2nd circle. Maybe there's a small gap in between, but not much. These 2 are huddled very close together. Well, hipster, you got your answer. And it's the right answer! Miko, how's your night going? So I got my 2 circles. Again, I'm doing these kind of like rectangles, maybe with a tiny bit of shape on the shoulders. If you want to do a little shape on the shoulders, you can angle down a little bit and then go like down to over to the left, down to the right, and then go straight down. No neck required. These are very basic people. So there's 2 angled lines for the shoulders and coming down. There's 2 angled lines for the shoulders and coming down. And these 2, again, are very tight together, so my shapes kind of combine there, and that's all right. Filling in. Yeah, these two are sharing an umbrella. If you feel like you wouldn't be sharing with your partner here, then, you know, keep them a little further apart, give them 2 umbrellas. But these people are sharing. They know that sharing is caring. Peepo and Mr. Noodle in London. The perfect couple. Can you remind me of details of it again? Yes, absolutely. Pizza, I did just 3 horizontal lines with a darker red. So the darker red I created by adding just a tiny bit of blue in there because it's like a purplish red. And I just do a vertical or horizontal, horizontal, horizontal. And then I do 3 verticals, 3 verticals. And yeah, the color was red with a tiny bit of blue in there. So it makes it kind of like a rustier kind of purple red. And then you can do the same thing with like a nice, yeah, no worries, a nice light orange. That kind of gives it a highlight as well. It's either like a yellow or light orange. Same exact thing. Very messy. If it mixes, that's okay. If you need any other details, let me know. Okay, I'm just doing the peg legs now. So I'm essentially doing 2 angled lines that come a little more to a point at the end. So you have a little bit more of a width at the top than the bottom. So it's not 2 separate legs, it's just kind of one overall shape that comes a little bit closer together at the bottom. Very basic people shapes. The game of life shapes, really. Painting the hair, there we go. Pizza, you know it. I found painting my hair like during my days off when I wasn't streaming and I was like, how could this be? It was like little white tips on my hair and it was white paint. It's going. I'm hoping to make the stream on time but traffic or otherwise. Oh, I'm sorry. That's okay. I still got some painting to go and then I'll hang out a little bit, so I still caught some of it. The night is young. Yes, Lynn's son did live there. Yes, 2 years. There you go. He is an expert. Cozy share umbrella. Yeah! Absolutely. Okay, the other purple... Oops! The other purple detail I'm adding is just 1 quick line for the umbrella, kind of going in between them. Bianca, hi! I watch you on Twitch. Hello! Whoopsie. Occasionally. How's it going? Weren't you streaming earlier? I wasn't watching, but I saw you online. Hello, welcome in. Glad to have you here. You were! Hey! Yeah, I didn't catch you, but I saw you online. What were you up to today? Welcome in. And then everyone, I'm just doing the umbrella next. So the umbrella, I chose a nice red. As a warning, my red is a little transparent, so I'm going to add a tiny bit of white to it. Just a tad. And then I'm just doing a basic umbrella shape. Again, because it's so far away, we don't need to be super detailed with it. And because of the style of the painting, it's supposed to be kind of messier. So I'm just doing a relatively straight horizontal line and then kind of a very, you know, light curve to connect the 2 ends there. Just a basic umbrella shape. You can put more detail in it if you want, but you can see how messy and blobby it is in mine. Trying to really cake on the paint as usual, just so it matches with the nice texture of everything else. If you want to add a little highlight, you can. You can see I added just a little smidgen of white or a light yellow. Either one works. Just very messy right on top of the wet paint, so it kind of molds in there, makes it look a little more wet. If you want shading, you can use that red-blue mixture, kind of that purple on the other side. Again, all just swirling in the paint as it's still very wet, so anything you like you can add. Thanks for shouting her out. Thank you, Groki. Yeah, Bianca, you've caught me in a tutorial here, so it's, I'm kind of teaching people, oh, what the heck happened here? What did I do here, guys? Did I, like, wipe something? I don't even know what happened. My little lights are messed up. Bianca, yeah, I do these step-by-step tutorials, so I'm kind of, like, going between teaching and chatting, so excuse me as I might take a minute to respond to you. What the heck did I do, guys? I just wiped something in there. Anyway, there we go. That's fine. The last detail I want to point out is you can highlight the people. So just using kind of the light yellow or white, just very quickly and again messily going along the right-hand edge so it kind of highlights them. You can see it in the close-up here, of course. Cool. Yeah, hello. Aw, thanks, King Shriner. That's what I try and do. I want people to know that it can be easy. It's not as hard as it looks. Under my umbrella, if only DMCA wasn't a thing we could sing. Under my umbrella. I loved that song, Miko. I think it was my ringtone at one point. I purchased that thing. I purchased that ringtone. Yeah. Had my heart, da-da-da-da, be worlds apart. Can't the chorus down pretty well, I think. Thanks, Bianca. Thank you. It was your brush when you were explaining how I did the clock. Shoot. That's when I was teaching pizza. Thank you. I don't even know how it happened. I just saw it and I was like, what happened here? Oh, man. Oh, you did? Oh, let's talk about it. Oh my gosh. What was the name? Do you mind sharing the name of where it was or what it was? Was it like a chain? Because I did too. Hand and lights while making my people. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know, yeah. She said it was when I was explaining this part, but I've done that before where I've just like slapped my hand on something and it just imprints a little bit. Okay, let's zoom out and see what we have left. I think there's just one more thing, right? Oh, couple more things, my goodness. So I did put a little reflection here. So just kind of zigzagging my brush with some purple just to add to that. Oh yeah, and I have the white. Okay, white and the bushes. 2 more steps. 15 years old, I think, or more. It's gotta be. It's, at least. Yeah, I don't want to age reveal quite yet. We've got 2 more months to go. But, yeah, I know the age at which point I was looking for that ringtone. I'm glad you're having a good time, Charlene. Scarlet Easel. Okay, cool. I hadn't heard of that one. I'm more familiar with, like, the bigger chain ones, if that makes sense to you. Like, the ones that are all over America. I'm in Canada, but some of them made their way to Canada, so... I gotcha. Cool. That's cool. We have that in common. Anyway, yeah, hope your stream went well today. Again, sometimes I pop in. I know you stream a lot when I'm streaming too, though, so it's hard to watch you, but I do follow you, so I appreciate you coming in. 2007. Oh. Yeah, Hoki's close. Oh, with, oh, my age, I see. To be revealed. I thought you meant close with umbrella, but that was hipster who said it. Yes. High school years blend together as one. I feel like I can pretty much distinctly tell my certain years of high school. Especially with music. Music I find is a good indicator for me of like what age, what time. So I was always listening to music. Okay, again, 2 more steps, guys. I'm just gonna do a little bit of a white kind of like back and forth here. You can see a little bit of streakiness in my original here. That was the white paint. So I'm using my large flat brush just because it has a thin edge. If you have a smaller brush with a thin edge, that works too. But very just like lightly, I'm just gonna wisp some white back and forth. I just find it helps make it look a little more wet and like the colors are blended maybe a tiny bit more together. And I really just do this in the pathway here. You could do it in the water a little if you want, being careful of the lampposts, but I thought it was more important in here. So just small amounts. You can see it's just very lightly wisping on. Okay. There's so many people who hadn't painted since high school and it was so rewarding helping them make something. Absolutely, Bianca. Yeah, that's why I'm liking it too. That's why I continue to do it, I should say. It doesn't get old, honestly. I did it for a long time and now I kind of do it on my own. And yeah, that's why I keep doing it. It's even though I don't get to see people as they're doing it now because I'm doing it online, at least I get to see photos. Like people will post photos of their finished paintings and like you said, it's like they're so proud. They're like, I didn't think I could do anything like this. And that's really, really great to hear and that people start painting because of it. I know a lot of people who kind of started with these and then kind of just moved on to making their own personal artwork, and they don't do these at all anymore, so that's super rewarding, as you said. Same page, same page. Erin, twice I've watched this painting, twice I'm amazed at how it comes together. Thank you, Cindy! In the beginning it always looks nice. There's no way it's gonna happen that I can do it. Love it. Thank you. Yeah, I think this one especially has surprised a lot of people with all the steps and everything, and how it does come together. Again, right at the end. With all those light colors, I think it really brings it all together for sure. Thanks, Cindy. Yeah. It's magic. Oh, you guys. It's just what I do. Okay, I'm on the very last step. I don't know if anyone is honestly following along here because I know a lot of you were taking breaks for all the clumps of paint. So I'm just going to do the last step for those who are ready for it. And of course, like I said, I'll stick around if there's questions. So I'm just going to use a medium round brush now. And the last step was kind of like an afterthought, honestly, in my original, so it is like the last step and an afterthought here as well, of course. I added some bushes along here. I didn't think there was anything kind of anchoring, I guess, this horizon line, so I wanted to add, I'll show you these very dark bushes. There we go. I just think it helps kind of distinctly, yeah, push those two areas apart from each other and kind of show that this is either, again, either water or a roadway. And then this is more kind of background and we're not stepping on it, right? So nice little bushes. Dark green, medium round brush, and I'm just kind of either tapping or stroking that right kind of above the horizon line or the water line or whatever you want to call it, because who knows what this part is, it's up to you. Is it water or is it road? So yeah, tapping, oh no, it's okay, I got another one. Tapping or brushing. Anything with texture. We just want all that texture. I'm sure it does, Charlene. You're so experienced. I'm sure it does. Thank you. Yeah, no worries, Lynn. Gotcha. I'm exhausted. There it goes. I was gonna say Bot was sleeping through all of that there. It's like, I'm awake. I did it. Alright, so yeah, you can see tapping or stroking. Tap, tap, or just like small strokes back and forth like the X marks, but with the smaller brush. And that's truly all. Oh, I went on top of Big Ben, it looks like, so let's carry that over here. There we go. See, it gives a little more depth too, kind of moves Big Ben back a little bit, so that's a little bonus to that extra step. I think that's it. Let me just see. Obviously there's differences because it's such a messy painting, but I think we're pretty much done for, yeah. The bulk of it, yeah. So at this point, like I keep saying, if you want to go back and add even more color, you can kind of mess it up even more by adding more color on top, adding more layers. If anything wasn't coming out bright, you can now add more layers on top. Or if you were just waiting for paint to dry, maybe you can continue now and I can answer questions for you. So feel free to start painting again and I'll answer questions. If you are all done though, sign your painting. It's always the last step. Very important step. I'm just gonna choose any color. We have so many colors in the painting. Any color will do. Going bottom corner. There we go. And that solidifies it as done. Beautiful. So if anyone is looking to share their paintings, there's a little link for photos. It'll pop up in a quick second, maybe 5 seconds. There we go. Lots of choices for how to share your photos. You can use Facebook, Instagram, Discord, all of those work. If you're using Facebook, I just need to open up the event page real quick, so give me a quick second and I'll do that. It seems to be the most popular place to post photos, so I like to do that immediately. If anybody is interested, I'm doing another tutorial next week. As a reminder, I do this pretty much weekly at this point, pending my schedule. We got some hydrangeas coming up next week on a nice kind of like wood background. Nice little butterfly out there. Yep, getting springy. We're getting springy with the hydrangeas and a little milk jug. If you're looking for this tutorial that I just finished teaching, my goodness, my words, and any other tutorials I've done, that's not the one I want, then you can go to YouTube. YouTube.com/erinbunpaints is where all of my past tutorials are, and this one will be uploaded hopefully within a week or two. whenever I get to it. Jellyfish will be up by tomorrow, in case anyone's wondering about the jellyfish from last week. If you're interested in continuing to support me, watching me on Twitch supports me enough just by watching me any other day. That's more than enough. Thank you. Like, thanks for coming tonight. More support is just by watching me further. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm on Twitch a lot throughout the week. Mondays, Tuesdays, Fridays, Saturdays. Sometimes that switches up, but I always post my schedule so you know when I'm on. The event page is now open, by the way. To go an even further step to support, there's a bunch of tip links that you're welcome to check out. You can tip via PayPal, you can tip via e-transfer. I'll type that in there. There's a Streamlabs link to pay via credit card. It pops up on stream so I can thank you live on stream. All that is available. Again, none of it is expected, always just appreciated. Subscribing is a way to support me as well if you're interested in subscribing. Cindy, thank you. Gifting to Lily. You've done so many gifts today. Thank you, Cindy. Lily, you're a bun now. I saw you were just chatting. I was going to catch up there. But you're officially part of the crew now. Thank you, Cindy, for bringing her in there. Hype, 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 hype. Yeah, subscribing is a way to support me. Using Amazon Prime is a free way to support me. If you have questions about how to use Amazon Prime to subscribe for free on your end, but still supporting me financially, let me know. I can help you. And I think that's all. That's usually my little spiel. So again, I'll open it up to questions at this point or just chatting. I won't be running away. So if you need to bounce, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. And I look forward to next time. Thank you.